and it's tough. So we can see the screen now with the bans and picks. And
Oh, baby.
oh man,
Check
so
this
what's
out.
going on here?
Warlock was banned by Realz, just like we thought, because there is no Miracle Rogue. And Amaz has banned the Miracle Rogue of Realz, which means we will see this Demon Lock unless Realz goes on a rampage once again with some of his other decks. I want to see his Warlock in action. It was definitely the surprise of the tournament. Him and 6-0 try to use Void Caller, but Realz is the more unique version with Ancient Watchers, Molten Giants, but he also has Doom Guards and Dread Infernals, cards that really don't seem like they mesh well. But when you add in the Void Caller to summon Lord Jaraxxus on turn 4, Nimsh did it earlier today on stream, so it's pretty powerful to have a 3/15 minion on turn 4 or 5.
Oh man, I'm so excited about this lineup. Those decks are so crazy. The decks that are banned, the Warlock and the actually it's a Backspace Rogue are out of the way, but we'll see both Paladin decks where both of those players really did well with them. We will see the trademark Priest from Amaz with his Thunder list and a crazy Shaman. We will see the Druid and a Warlock, but we do open up the series with Hunter v Hunter, and it's also a pretty interesting matchup. And the thing that I want to throw in here is that Eaglehorn Bow was actually changed. Not sure if all of you guys know this, but Eaglehorn Bow is not being buffed by your opponent's traps anymore. So it's only your traps. And
Right.
here, Reels only has a 1 trap, and Amaz has 2. And he has a flare, which is also pretty
Yep.
important with Reels running no flares.
Yeah, Flare could be an MVP, although Rios only has one freezing trap, so they had to kind of align. But at the same time, most likely Amaz will be saving Flare for a while if he picks it up early in the deck. They're both running Leroy, so they have lots of burst. Stranglethorn Tiger might also be an interesting card here because Stranglethorn Tiger is almost certain to do damage because of the stealth. You're not able to deal with it easily unless you have Deadly Shot. And if you get that 5 damage early and you have a stable minion, maybe that's a way for you to kind of initiate the race and put it in your favor. A lot of times this mirror does end up becoming of who can kill the other person faster. And if you seize control of the board, they're stuck clearing while you're being the one attacking face and hero power.
Well, also on the other hand, the Stampede Kodo from the Reels side seems like a good card. If your opponent gets an unfortunate Leok on turn 3, and then you Kodo the coin the Kodo, that's a huge swing, and that's a very important card.
Mm-hmm.
Both players are running one Iron Beak O, which is a cool counter to Savannah Highmane, and we are going to see some Web Spinner madness. Both of the players play double. Oh man, I'm excited what we can actually get with those Web Spinners.
I'm not sure. Maybe King Crush finally can make an appearance and show that he's not the worst card in Hearthstone. Because
Today I
then you
got a
still
King
have the
Mokla.
possibility of getting Core Hound.
What do you say about getting a King Mokla like in a specific moment?
That's great too. It's a Stranglethorn Tiger that costs 3 mana.
Yeah, it's not a bad card. And by the way, guys, this is the final of the VGVN Naxxramas release tournament. Those players will face each other in a best of 7 match. They banned 1 class each. And oh man, this will be a cool match. I'm so excited to see all the games in here with those weird matchups. Paladin versus Paladin, Hunter versus Hunter. Are we going to see those?
The Paladin is going to be the key to this entire series, I feel, because unless the Demon Lock can completely stomp everything, I'm not sure about the rest of the matchups and the percentages. Like, I don't know what Demon Lock's favored against or weak against. I would have to imagine it's good against Zoo, but I don't know because you have Molten Giants and you're able to kind of keep up with the pace. But I don't know about anything else. The Paladin, though, is going to be the key because the Paladin can, Rios can actually 4-0 with Paladin, I guess, in this list. Maybe not necessarily in game 1 because he already chose his Hunter, but if he loses with Hunter, I think he chooses Paladin. I think it's great against Hunter. I think it's just fantastic against everything else. You're just worried about the mirror. And I think Rios depends on how he's able to play it. Maybe the Paladin's going to be the one to kind of seal the deal for him. But Amaz might be able to stop with his own Paladin, which means all of a sudden maybe Reels is on the rope. So the key to this entire series, I feel like, is going to be Uther.
One thing that boggles my mind is like Amaz had to pick 5 classes. 5 classes out of 9, and he didn't pick Druid. where just a week ago,
Or
Druid
a
was
rogue. Hmm.
a rogue.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's just crazy.
All right. Now Amaz starts with Web Spinner. A great start. Reels does have the extra mana, but sometimes, if your opponent coins out the threat earlier, you still have to respond to it.
Do you favor the coin in this matchup? Would you like to have a coin?
The one mana does make a big difference, though. Like, after the first coin, the coin's been used the first time.
I really like the coin because it feels like you can play your Savannah Hymen first, because you play Savannah Hymen on 5. You can also make the Kodo shenanigan as mentioned. So if they hit Leok and you have Kodo, you can play it earlier. And also you can unleash earlier if you want to. Like you can make all those cool plays, and it's fine if you're going second, I believe. So from my perspective, I like having the coin here.
Realz is also introduced with something of playing the Tontos board on turn 1. There is merit to it because you can sneak in 1 or 2 damage, and it gives you something to do to answer Web Spinner. Because if he plays a Web Spinner, then all of a sudden you're taking damage every turn you're responding, and then you miss the opportunity to hero power. But if he coins out Haunted Creeper, then this Tontos board gamble completely gets screwed over, and for good reason. Look at what Amaz just drew. The Haunted Creeper off the top, so Realz actually made the right decision here to hold his Stone Tusk board.
It seems like Amaz has a pretty nice hand with regards to the start. He has the combo, he has Deadly Shot, he has the Haunted Creeper. Oh my god, and another Buzzard. But on the other hand, Realz, even though he doesn't have the early game, he has a late game. He has Lothep, he has Savannah Hymen. So, and also Amaz and another Hymen. Oh my god, this is huge. Here, being Amaz, do you overextend? Because every other minion you play is another card for your opponent if you assume they have the Buzzard Unleash combo. So you have to be really careful in this matchup.
Realz is just going to hero power pass. You don't want to kind of play into the way to give your opponent a minion with Web Spinner. That's just something you want to avoid. Houndmaster off the top, by the way, for Amaz. That is a big draw. So you can
That's why I
continue
like
to
the
put
coin.
pressure.
That's why I like the coin. It's pretty powerful. But
Yeah, it
on
gives
the
you the
other hand,
flexibility.
it's the third minion you play. You know that your opponent won't be able to unleash and Buzzard next turn. I feel like you do it because you know that your opponent will be at 4 points of mana next turn. So there is no Buzzard unleash. And you're able to push another 4 points of damage. And then next turn, if they don't unleash, well, you still can again deal even more damage and do stuff.
Agreed. Realz draws second copy of Unleash, which means the first one should be used with Timberwolf. Right here, I think you can try your best to clear as much as possible. Unfortunately, it's not very clean. After the Spectral Spiders get revealed, what do? You just, I guess, tack into Houndmaster, set up for a second Unleash.
It's just so sad. Like, if he doesn't get the Buzzard, double Unleash to clear the board, and he's still down on damage.
But interesting thing is that Amaz's draws after, the fact that he does have Buzzard, but right now he's not picking up something to immediately play too. If he had like Animal Companion, like I think this Web Spinner is so important. He gets my Exna.
My Exna. Oh my god, my Exna for the first and the last time in the constructed tournament. Okay, maybe not the last time,
Not
but
the last time.
I was talking to Ben Brode about it on turn 2, and we discussed the fact that my Exna is so unplayable that you'll probably see my Exna only with a Web Spinner. And here, I'm hyped to see this Exna doing work. And she's actually not a bad card.
The fact that Amaz has minions to do, like minions to drop, is so important. But again, he's still going to be a little bit on the slower end of stuff. The nice thing is, he is ahead of the race.
He's definitely ahead here. But Realz has the Kodo. If he's able to get the Kodo, top deck the Kodo after Max now, that would be so huge. On the other hand, this one minion, this just small spider, is nothing for Amaz. He is not able to unleash. Like, yeah, even playing a Buzzard is just weird.
Yeah, this is what I was kind of saying. Amaz has a great hand to respond, but he doesn't have anything to do. And the fact that Web Spinner didn't draw a direct minion to play for the next 2 turns means Realz can take the board. So even though there is a slight lead, or actually a pretty considerable margin. I didn't realize he was at 15 health. I thought that was more of like the high teens. Realz still can come back, despite the fact that this high main, or sorry, rather, he's taking a lot of damage. This high main can change a lot of things.
There is a Hymen for Amaz. This is a pretty good draw. Other than that, you have to play Naxxramas, which is not something you want to play.
No way.
And this is very interesting because we talked about it in the
Oh,
beginning.
man.
Amaz has a really nice hand with a lot of starting minions, but then he slowed down. But he still has a leader in his
Trap
deck.
is good.
Yeah, Freezing Trap is pretty nice.
It denies your opponent to play it. There is an alternative way where if you feel like it's Freezing Trap or Explosive Trap, depends on the intel you've received. Do you play something like Stone Tusk Boar with Hunter's Mark? No, you gotta use Freezing Trap here. Now, I was thinking maybe you Loatheb or something, but I think Freezing Trap is just way too powerful against what he has.
Well, the problem is like Freezing Trap can actually be enabled by anything. So I like Buzzard more, so that you attack with the Haunted Creeper, check out which trap is this, play Buzzard, and then attack with the high main into the high main and draw the cards. The problem that Realz is facing, he has only 5 cards left. He used his both copies of Unleash the Hounds, and he has no way to draw the cards in here. Where Amaz has a full hand and a full potential, like he can draw into anything.
Ooh, well, he guessed kind of wrong, but now he can still play the Freezing Trap. And then he also can do a good job of removing. In fact, it is a little bit kind of sloppy and out of order, but he's ended up getting the damage in anyways. See what Amaz can do. He can also unleash to get maximum value, but if he picks up something like Leroy, I wonder if that's enough damage to end the game.
I feel like you were waiting with the Unleash so long that this is definitely a turn you want to unleash. You can you unleash and Deadly Shot? You can't. Well, with Unleash, he's drawing 3 cards, which is pretty good. And also he will be able to check the trap. The problem is, if this is an explosive trap, you're so dead. So you probably want to maybe attack first with the Hyena.
Yes.
See what kind of a trap is this.
I completely agree. You know, the explosive trap blows this game away.
I really like how traps, like the mechanic of traps is warping the game. It's you play the card, it's a secret, so you don't know what it is. You have to play around it. And it's so tough to play around it, to make the decision. Which trap is this?
Freezing Trap has been revealed.
So now, do you unleash? 5 mana.
Yeah, there's no way to end the game. But if you unleash, you can't set up like a taunt. And even if you unleash, what if you don't have a way to kill off this high main effectively? Like you don't have Hunter's Mark or the Iron Beak Owl. I think you have to do it though. You're drawing 3 cards. Something like Owl would be nice. Something like Hunter's Mark would also be okay. He also has Explosive Trap.
Explosive Trap is pretty nice as well.
Oh, he gets the Iron Beak Owl as his 3rd card. That is a huge draw.
This is pretty nice for Amaz. Because right now he's denying any kind of damage coming from Realz. Realz only 2 cards to Amaz having 9.
Oh my goodness, this game has just been blown wide open by Amaz because of that. But Loatheb has stalled it out, so it's not like kill commands can end the game.
Well, kill command is actually still pretty good. You just kill command Loatheb and attack for 4. Put your opponent to 9. He only has 2 cards. He just played Loatheb, so there is no high main, no Unleash the Hounds. You have 16 points of life. And there is no combination of 3 cards the hunter can use to kill you.
Do you Deadly Shot and just push for damage? I feel like that wouldn't be bad either.
Yeah, that's definitely something I suggest.
Oh, my bad. I thought you were suggesting kill command.
It's fine. It's like kill command or Deadly Shot. Deadly Shot is better because kill command you can use it as a burst card.
Completely agree. You have the 5 damage in hand. You might even roll something better with Animal Companion. In fact, if your opponent can't do anything, I would love to drop my Exna and kill command. No! Realz concedes before my Exna has been revealed, but realistically, we're probably never going to see my Exna being played.
I'm still looking forward to it. Maybe one day somebody will actually play Maxna, then play Mark of the Wild,
And
and then
faceless.
Faceless.
Yep.
And we earned some good glasses, by the way.
That's a hard-earned thing. Now, Rios is going to go straight to Paladin. An excellent choice. Paladin has the potential to completely destroy what Hunter can do. Not to mention that Harrison Jones is also included, and the Hunter picking up value with traps, and the Eagle Horn bow can get shut down like we just saw.
Yeah, certainly this is a good pickup. And Hunter was kind of like a deck to test the waters. Is you stay this aggro deck, you see what your opponent is playing, maybe steal a game, maybe steal two games, but if it's dead, it's fine because now you know what you're facing. You've seen a lot of cards, so you can take your counter deck. And this Paladin deck is certainly a counter deck to Hunter.
One thing that was actually really interesting too is the fact that you kind of mentioned the Paladin has less of a drawing mechanic, but yet we see only one Acolyte of Pain. And I felt like I was seeing two, at least from the Cloud9 deck building perspective. And I think it's because he wanted to shore up his early game with things like Haunted Creeper as well and insert like all these tech cards like Harrison Jones plus Black Knight. So he had to make cuts somewhere else. And it makes sense too, because you're drawing into the big threats into the deck anyways. And if you're not playing Acolyte of Pain, most likely your hero power passing and then drawing a card anyways. So you're playing a little bit slower, not you're beefing up your deck rather than thinning it, but you're loading it up with much more threats and tech situational cards. So I think Real's made some really intelligent cuts here to try to squeeze in everything because he's got a Defender of Argus in case he needs to hold off aggression. He's got like one Kodo so that way he's able to remove, but he's not overcommitting to the 5-draw slot with Lotheb and Sludge Belchers and Harrison Jones.
He actually has double Nomish Inventor, which is another draw card. So Amaz only was in Amaz's Paladin, we only have one Acolyte of Pain and one Lay on Hands. And here we have Acolyte of Pain, double Nomish Inventor, Lay on Hands, well, and Harrison Jones, which is apparently drawing from 4 to 6 cards every game. It's like
Harrison Jones, battle cry. Destroy your opponent's weapon, win the game.
Just look at that face. He's just looking at you with a troll smile all the time from that deck list.
Absolutely. Asking if you've got a problem. I don't know if Amaz's deck, like things like Stranglethorn Tiger, can necessarily turn the tides. I do know Explosive Trap is also really effective against a lot of the tokens. Maybe that's his way he can control the board. Paladin also can be a victim of the draws. If he mulligans like a really poor hand, like a mid-game hand, say he puts away Sludge Belcher and like a Kodo and a Cairn, and then gets Tyrion, Lay on Hands, Guardian Kings, that can also spell disaster. Hunter is one of the best decks to curve really well into. Web Spinner, Haunted Creeper, Hound Master, Animal Companions. If you do that, the damage starts flowing in, and Paladin starts his game at 15 to 18 health, and then kill commands ended, just like you mentioned in the previous series. So no way is it completely one-sided. I don't think Paladin is heavily favored, but I think it's a good matchup versus Hunter.
Oh yeah, definitely Paladin has a slight edge, but this build is very different from Amaz. There are no Sunwalkers as well, so you might actually hit a point where you just don't have any taunts and you draw into Harvest Golems, Aldor Peacekeepers and stuff, like cards which are not doing much on board, where Hunter is just dealing damage every turn, just stacking up that damage and waiting with the Leroy combo. So where I would definitely give slight edge to Realz with his Paladin deck here. I feel like Amaz can still win this game with a good decision making and correct cards and slight web spinner luck at one point.
I feel like Amaz was the only person given a legitimate weapon, by the way, by the artist. Because Forsen has a beer, Savitz has a bouquet of roses to charm any woman. I guess infatuation is his weapon. And Realz has a pair of Macarenas. He doesn't have anything else here. He doesn't he's just got shaker. He's got a musical instrument to try to dance his opponent to death, while Amaz actually has a legitimate way to kill his opponents with Wolverine claws.
Well, it worked for him the first game, and now we'll see if it actually works for him again. We got the glasses. Amaz is the glasses, so I guess it gives us an edge, kind of.
Yes, you can see his opponent clearly. At least
yeah,
from this
definitely.
perspective.
That's actually pretty good to see the cards that your opponent's playing and to see your opponent.
He's
I'm
also
kind of
clipping his nails. He's got good hygiene. Love it.
all right. The game has started, and we see the mulligan. So Amaz on the coin again, and Reels facing a really weird hand with current inequality. So
Wait,
this
God, I
might
called it Macarenas. It's maracas. Why? What the hell am I talking about, Nip? You got to help me
Baraka.
on these things.
I don't even know what it is.
Hmm.
I wouldn't even know how to call it in Polish, actually. So
They're
I
just
was
like big empty coconuts that you shake. Don't worry. The whole point is just to have a percussion instrument.
sure. I know. I
Not the
know it
most
makes
exciting
sounds.
start for Reels, by the way. He gets a Garden of Kings and Holy Light, cards that he's most likely going to be playing turns 6 onwards, unless he needs to push it out much earlier. While Amaz doesn't exactly have the best starting hand, but tracking can make it up for it.
And he has double tracking. Tracking like turn one is really weird because you basically don't want to do it because you're throwing some of the cards that are actually good, and you're giving a signal to your opponent like, "Hey, my hand is terrible. I have to use tracking to fill out my curve." But on the other hand, it actually helps because you get you cycle tracking for one of three cards, and you always take a card which is actually good for you. So right now, Amaz has a Leroy, has Unleash, he has a lot of burst potential, but what he's looking for is a beast that he can actually play and buff.
Well, he picks the Eagle Horn Bow. We didn't get to see what he discarded with the double trackings, but that could be a big factor into why he makes certain decisions that we might not be able to understand. Maybe he doesn't have any more like Savannah High Maids or something, or maybe he doesn't have even a buzzer or something like that. Like all these kinds of things, you kind of don't know unless you're able to see it. And that's why some people were saying like maybe you show tracking to what it discarded to your opponent for a long time because of all that mystery, that hidden information is so powerful for Hunter.
Oh yeah, definitely that will be something interesting. But still, Eagle Horn Bow was a pretty good pick. He was able to clear the Pyromancer, and on the next turn he will be able to play Stone Tusk Boar, coin the Hellmaster, and build up a very strong board with a 3/3 charge and a 4/3 charge and taunt actually, and a 4/3 as well. So next turn is pretty nice, unless he actually decides to play Stranglethorn Tiger, which is also a pretty nice card because having Leroy and Unleash, you sometimes want to keep the coin to be able to make this really powerful turn a bit earlier with this surprise effect. If your opponent has a lot of minions and you play Leroy, you get two more minions on your opponent's side, and then you can unleash for like 5 minions at the same time.
Yeah, you make a great point because Amaz's Hunter deck seems to be oriented around damage. Explosive Trap is a way to clear, but also do damage. Stranglethorn Tiger is primarily a damaged minion card. Leroy obviously is a card that not every single player includes, and he is being slightly more aggressive, which I like it. You have to kind of take initiative, and he uses the coin in order to do this. Reels, by the way, that one hero power was a little bit hard to decide. Do I give my opponent an ability to unleash? But because he does, now he has the ability to clear one of these minions.
And again, Houndmaster is such a powerful card. For 4 mana, you just get a 6/5, and it's on. It's one of the best 4 drops in the game. Unfortunately, only for Hunter and kind of conditional, but still. Okay, being Reels, what do you do in here? You can you clear effectively? You can kill the boar.
Well, Humility doesn't really do anything along with Peacekeeper. Peacekeeper just kind of makes it really... actually, Peacekeeper does control the Houndmaster, and there's no beast energy, so you're less afraid. But Sludge Belcher is also really nice, and you're not necessarily guaranteed to be able to play it on an easier curve. Like, because if you're forced to play it next turn, then you're wasting 1 mana, unless you use Humility. And again, it doesn't feel exactly the best. I think Sludge Belcher is good here. It gets
Sludge Belcher,
increasingly clunkier to play.
yeah, definitely Sludge Belcher seems to be a pretty strong play. And Amaz picks an animal companion, which might be good with Iron Beak into a Sludge Belcher. Animal companion, if he gets Leok might be pretty nice. Gets
Wow.
Leok. This is
He gets the
Amaz.
Leok.
The RNG god Amaz strikes again.
But does he want to use Iron Beak here? Because he knows that there are bigger threats eventually, like Tyrion. But I think you have to go for something like this. Tyrion is
Oh
still
man.
far away. You're planning too far in advance. You need a way to kind of advance your board a little bit.
Exactly. Like Tyrion is in the far future, like
Mm-hmm.
2020. You're not thinking about that stuff.
Like Blizzard announces their next expansion by the time Tyrion comes out to play.
Oh, definitely.
Hmm.
Here you don't even attack into that sludge belcher thing.
Really?
5 points of damage is so huge. And
But
that
then what
belcher
about
is
Choose
not getting
Silver
chomped.
Champion?
Still, it's 5 points of damage. It's like that
Mm.
belcher is not doing it's not regaining taunt
Okay.
anytime soon. And you said it yourself. Amaz is playing a very aggression-oriented hunter,
Sure.
so he will be pushing with damage and getting as much damage as possible. So dealing 5 damage to the Belcher seems like a waste.
No, I agree. I agree. I just wanted to hear a little bit more of your analysis, and I think it's spot on. Amaz is recognizing opportunities to put in damage. It's not the easiest for his ability to squeeze his opponent to squeeze in. Of course, if Rios had True Silver, then I think his board crumbles pretty severely. Because then you attack the Leok, then you don't even lose the first copy of Spell Belcher. But because he doesn't, all of a sudden Rios is faced with a little bit tough choice.
That's a pretty cool strategy, by the way. You just push with damage and build up the board, and you force your opponent to trade with your minions instead of you yourself trading with the minions that your opponent plays. It's funny how it turned into a 2-3, by the way.
Right, yeah, now it's just like a regular 2 mana cost card. Vanilla, and he also targets the Ironbeak Owl, so that way he doesn't have beast synergy, and he can't just Houndmaster like follow up on that one either.
Oh man, do you unleash here? The free minions on board, and you have a Leok. It seems so tasty. It's like Animal Companion and Unleash. I
Do you
would
get like
Animal.
second Leok?
Oh man, and then get like 9 damage out of the Unleash the Hounds. I would definitely go for it. He's going for it.
Actually, Huffer accomplishes pretty much the same thing. You just miss 1 damage.
Oh, he
Ooh,
gets
Amisha.
Amisha. I feel like it's still
That's a
Unleash.
letdown.
You Unleash, you probably kill the Belcher now because there's just so much value in killing the Belcher. And deal 4 damage to your opponent, I guess.
Yeah, I think so. You want to start. You don't want to just go straight for face and play straight into consecration and get no. I mean, you could push for damage and put him at 12, which would be scary actually with Leroy.
Well, the thing is, like, you next turn you can Leroy and Unleash if you want to. So here, you can either trade or you can just deal 8 damage to face and YOLO, because your opponent will have to clear your board somehow, and you have a pretty nice board, so Consecration doesn't do it. He's actually going for board control. There is an equality, but there is no follow-up, so Realz won't be able to clear this board.
But he's got
Knight,
Black Knight to
pretty good.
stabilize a lot of the damage.
Oh man, but that Black Knight is a minion. And this means that this is another dog. And Leok is still in the game, so all the hounds will actually have to attack.
How much damage does he have? Oh, he has Kill
Oh man,
Command
kill
now.
command.
So Kill Command and press for damage.
With Leroy, he has 12, 14, 16. Oh my god. 16 points of damage. I definitely go for it. And the next turn, he has Kill Command. Whatever happens. It's like Paladin won't be able to heal that much. There is no way. You
I
just
like
YOLO
using.
it.
I like using. Well, I guess you're right because I like using Leroy if you feel like your opponent's gonna keep taunting up. That's what Paladin specializes in, just playing these big threats. He's going for it. Amaz trying to aim at the throat, and that is a lot of damage being aimed straight at Realz. Or is he can even play board control? We don't know. Like Amaz has surprised us in the past with some of his moves, but he's gonna put him at a position where Realz needs to win now. He doesn't have something like Pyromancer to go for an easy clear.
He can't even clear. And then we know that Damask is a kill command. Potential 5 damage if the board is cleared. So even lay on hands is not enough. They can't even clear. You probably just can't clear this board. This board is just too big. That Leok. Like, a lot of people actually hate Leok. They hate to get Leok, but this Leok just brought so much damage to this game. The Leok is finally dead, but 3 turns too late.
if he defender Vargas, Holy Light, and Humility, does he survive?
He's dead to kill command and steady shot. Wait, is he? It's like
Let
6,
me
9.
think.
No, he's not dead. I don't think so.
You
He just
think like
he runs out of beasts. He has to strangle Flying Tiger. Oh no, he still has one extra beast. I'm trying to figure out if Rios can survive this turn, and he does have a lot of heals in his hand.
well he does, but he only has 8 points of mana, so it's tough. With Defender of Argus, Humility. So you cast Humility on. Wait, there's not enough mana. Okay, there is enough mana because you can Humility. This is 5/7.
Hmm.
He's going for it. He will try to stabilize the board somehow.
Yep, it makes sense. He's gonna have a beast anyway, so you can't really play for it. So Amaz with kill command plus hero power is 7 damage.
And this is it. The Stone Tusk
The
Boar
Stone
seals it.
Tusk Spores allow it. He needed actually one more damage,
He was
and
one
Amaz
damage
has
of
drawn
evil,
exactly what he needs.
but not anymore. Boar
Mhm.
control for the win.
Wonder.
And
Just
he's
counts
taken
down.
down the Paladin deck, which we were saying could be the way that Realz ends up winning this game. But Amaz has now taken game 2 and jumped out to a very powerful lead in this series.
This is so sick, but we talked about it. Like Paladin had an edge, but Amaz had all those cards. He had double unleash, Leon, Leroy, kill commands. He was able to deal some of the damage early. Even something like the Houndmaster with Stone Tusk Boar dealing immediate 3 points of damage on turn 4 being coined. That was just stacking up. He was just stacking up the damage to be able to finish it off. Like 1, 2 more turns for Reels, and I believe he will be able to stabilize. But Amaz just didn't give him enough time. He just killed him. He just slaughtered him like a sheep. And I still feel the blood in my mouth.
There's an image I'm gonna try to move past. Reels is gonna go straight to his Druid deck. By the way, I don't think there's any sheeps in those, so we can at least think of good thoughts. Keep in mind that he is only running one Force of Nature and not two copies of it, and he is playing Spectral Knight, which can give Hunter quite a headache of a time. I was thinking about like why Spectral Knight can be included in something like Warrior, and it makes a lot of sense that Spectral Knight is in these control type of decks. But when you play a little bit of a more aggressive version, say like with Token, Spectral Knight is such an interesting include because then all of a sudden it becomes this beady mid-range creature that just doesn't die and is able to put out damage across the board with Power of the Wild, 7 health. It's really difficult to remove.
I certainly agree. Also, he has the Argent Squire. It's just pretty important to start with to be able to get rid of those web spinners and other cards. If you are able to buff the Argent Squire pretty early, it can trade well with cards like Huffer. Imagine opening with Argent Squire, and then your opponent gets a Huffer from coin, maybe, and then you just buff the Argent Squire and are able to kill it. So all those small minions that are pretty good to trade. On the other hand, playing the Token Druid versus Hunter is really tricky. Violet Teacher producing all those tokens, all those minions, just give a Hunter an opportunity to buzzer unleash for a lot of value. So,
Yeah, it does. And, the explosive trap is surprisingly effective a lot of times against these small little tokens as well. Rarely the case that Violet Teachers get double Power of the Wild off to make 3 threes. So in this situation, Amaz might be okay once again because of these little tech choices that he's chosen, explosive trap and other things. And the Hunter has been so powerful in tournament level play because it matches so well against a lot of people's mid-range creatures with things like Deadly Shot and Hunter's Mark, and you're able to seize control in so much tempo with really cheap cards. And Amaz has drawn pretty well so far. His Hunter draws haven't betrayed him, similar to what we just saw Savitz in the closing the series. And if it continues, we might be looking at another tournament win by Team Liquid's Amaz.
this also shows the power of the Steady Shot, by the way. Steady Shot is this power that puts a clock on the game. Like, you deal some points of damage, and then you know that every turn There's 2 points of damage. Whatever the hunter draws, there's always these 2 points of damage coming. So it's pretty tough. Here, I feel like Amaz really has an edge, unless Realz actually does some shenanigans with Innervate, which we've seen before. Innervate is such an important card with all those weird plays, like Innervating Spectre Knight on turn 3, getting an Innervated Lothab maybe on turn 4, so that your opponent can't play the combo. So there are all those weird plays, or maybe even a combo on turn 7. Force of Nature, Savage Roar, turn 7, 14 points of damage. If you have any minions on board, just win the game at that point.
Definitely, definitely. Now, guys, we have a quick break and a lull into the match. We're not going to commercial or anything, but we do want to remind you about the VGVN promotion that's going on. At the end of the tournament, we are giving away a free PC. So if it's 2-0, there might be only a few more chances for you to enter. Definitely check it out. I don't know if Moobot's resuscitated yet from the suffocating of Twitch chat spam of not hashtag, exclamation point giveaway. But if it hasn't, go ahead and check the banner at the bottom of the Twitch channel that says enter to win for a cyber-powered PC and find out more about the VGVN network and what they're all about. All you have to do is sign up for a couple of newsletters and you might be able to pimp out your rig with a brand new spanking computer.
Certainly, definitely try to win as well. We are having a winner of this tournament decided in a couple of more games. So if you want to be a winner yourself, definitely try to join the giveaway. And yeah, I'm pretty excited for this match. But I'd like to see Amaz playing the priest again. If Amaz
You might have
4-0s
to.
Realz.
No, I don't think he's gonna 4-0. I think Realz is gonna do something cool. I think that the what's it called? The Demon Lock deck might also have a lot of potential too. Although things like Molten Giant feel a little bit useless because of Kill Command. You never know. Void Caller could do some pretty funky things. The game has started and Realz is on the coin, which means turns 1 to 3 look absolutely beautiful at the moment. And if he picks up a really strong minion on turn 4 plus, he can also innervate it out and control the board completely. Amaz does have some good tools at his disposal, though. Things like the Animal Companions and even the Stranglethorn Tiger and Savannah Highmane. Those are great cards to have against Druid.
Those hands are so tricky. It's I was looking at Amaz hand first. I was like, double Animal Companion. Oh wow, this is so good. And then Savannah Highmane, which is a pretty nice card in this matchup because it's so hard to remove for Druid. You can only silence with the Keeper of the Grove. But Realz doing his magic, turn 1, Harvest Golem and Argent Squire. This is going to do a lot of damage.
Yes, and you know what? Even if the Ironbeak Owl comes out, it only does 1 effective damage to this Harvest Golem or the Argent Squire. And this is a very painful opening because now the Druid's able to continue to push out damage over the course of 2 or 3 turns and sneak in 6, maybe 9 or 12 damage even before Druid or Hunter can do anything about it.
On the other hand, definitely Ironbeak is a draw that you can play this turn, try to silence something, and if you get a Misha next turn, a 4-4, that will be pretty hard to deal with for the Druid. And Druid right now, Realz, he doesn't have a turn 2 play, he has the Harvest going for turn 3, but then his draws are kind of very important to get something that he will be able to play.
Yeah, Wrath or something would be really good if this becomes a Misha. If this is a Huffer, it's actually bad news for Amaz. Because then his opponent can pick up a really easy trade.
Stone Tusk Boar is actually pretty important as well, because then on turn 4 he will be able to play it with Animal Companion. So what is it?
Oh, it's a Huffer. And he's going to play for the board controller. That way he doesn't get a good trade with Power of the Wild. It makes sense. And another blessing for Realz to kind of climb back and continue his push.
Houndmaster, interesting. This will be a pretty nice turn 5 play. And he gets a Misha. This is pretty important because Misha is hard to remove. And Realz, no real turn 4 play. He will have to Hero Power if he wants to destroy that Misha.
That is a great moment for Amaz because now that Realz has missed and whiffed on a turn, that gives him the ability to reset, and he can play something like his Stranglethorn Tiger in response.
Oh, definitely he's playing the Stone Tusk Boar and the Houndmaster and just trading into something or just dealing damage because he is an aggressor, and if he feels that this is the moment where he should actually push with damage, Stone Tusk Boar, Handmaster, free damage to face, and he starts from here. Next turn, Stranglethorn Tiger, and then Savannah Highmane, and suddenly his board is getting really big with all those creatures.
Okay, fair enough. He is again trying to play around buffs that his opponent can do, and trying to hedge his best to make sure he doesn't overextend and get board clear immediately. So he's not going for the damage. He's going again for the board control, which kind of what happens anyways, right? The hunter, first few turns, you seize control of the board, pave the way for your Savannah Highmane, and then when it comes down, then you push for damage and end the game.
Right now, that Black Knight is so sad. Just 1 mana off to be able to kill the taunts. So only one more possible taunt in Hunter's deck with a second Handmaster. That Black Knight might actually be useless.
Do you think there's any merit to playing Druid of the Claw? I think Realz hesitated for a sec to just try to think over all the possibilities.
It's a hard decision. I feel like a 4/6 was actually better. Druid of the Claw... Not really. I feel like Druid of the Claw might actually be better later because you still have the flexibility to attack or to get a taunt. So you felt like you're still fine with 26 points of health. And that Spectre Knight will just be hard to remove as just a better drop.
Okay. No, I think it's very versatile because of this. Now he is able to trade the minions, stay at 2 health, which is still annoying for your opponent. Your follow-up, again, is not that great because the Highmane does represent a lot of damage. You puts you down to 16. And even so, you don't have the Keeper of the Grove, the Silences, so there's still two hyenas to follow it up.
Do you play a Black Knight here? I don't think so. But by the way, Amaz was able to pick up a second Handmaster. What are the odds? And if he uses it on the Highmane, he will have a really bad time. Unless we actually see a Black Knight here, which will be pretty sick. Because
a Black Knight doesn't really accomplish anything.
Oh,
Lotheb.
Yeah, Lotheb is a better card, definitely.
Lotheb does deny any spells from being played immediately, and I think it's an act of desperation, but this also gives the ability for Amaz to draw cards off of his Starving Buzzard. And I think now he can start chain drawing because his hand was looking decent, but the build off the board, but you want more options.
Right now, this Buzzard is so important. You just trade it 6/5 with 5/5, draw 2 cards, and then you can do anything you want. You can play the Tiger, you can play the Bow and the Hero Power. You will have 2 more cards. I feel like Tiger will be actually cool. Or you can just push with damage. It's just deciding if you're more of an aggressive player right now. So if you're the one dealing damage and racing, or if you're the one who can stabilize and actually get a lot of value out of the cards you have.
Yeah, you bring up 2 different lines you can take. You can play more of the board control, play something like Eagle Horn Bow, deal immediately with the threat. He also can play the Starving Buzzard and draw game. He's also going to just opt to go for board control, but also play the biggest creature he can. And that's going to proc Realz to drop something maybe like Black Knight, but even so, there's still minions to be left over with Hyena. Amaz has trying to streamline his damage, but as a result, is not going to be able to draw cards off his Highmane. Interesting choice.
Well, he still has a Tiger anyway, and he has a lot of beasts in his deck with Double Web Spinner, the Stone Tusk Boar, and Animal Companion is out of the way, but still, this Black Knight is important, but it's not as good as it could be.
Ooh, Amaz draws an Explosive Trap, so ways to kind of stack in the damage.
Do you actually... I feel you drop Buzzard anyway. Or do you? Do you wait for like Unleash? This is actually interesting.
Okay, I think you don't have to. I think you just kind of push. You have the Tiger. You still have represented lethal. Your opponent has to deal with the board. And Realz is looking at like he might drop game number 3 unless he has something bigger to respond to everything. That Tiger represents so much threat because if Amaz top decks something like the Leroy Jenkins and his opponent doesn't have a way to stop it, this game is over.
On the other hand, Amaz doesn't have any beast in his hand. He only has the buzzard. So he might draw into something, but he also might be drawing dead for a couple of turns. So explosive trap does represent 2 points of damage. He also has the steady shot, and this is the moment where the hero power is so important. But because whatever you draw, you always can deal those 2 points of damage. So you're putting the clock on your opponent, and right now, Reels should be able to deal with the board, kind of, but he won't be able to deal with the 5/5 and with the bow, which is 8 points of damage. With steady shot, this is 10. With explosive trap, this is two more, and two more after that. It's
I mean, he
pretty tricky.
can kind of start addressing the board, but he's really short on the mana. He doesn't have the ability to set up a taunt and go for efficient removal afterwards. He's missing his cards like Wrath, is like to be able to take out this Houndmaster, clear off one of the hyenas, and then set up a taunt. This doesn't feel very good for Reels. He's just gonna have to go for a Power of the Wild and try to see if he can create the biggest wall possible.
And trades with a 4/3. This makes a lot of sense.
All right, he's got 5 damage.
Tracking
Yeah, if he finds a Leroy, I think that's it.
Iron Beak. Okay, he only had one Iron Beak, so Iron Beak is out.
Just needs to find something like Leroy. Ooh, Hunter's Mark. That might also be able to squeeze in damage. Let's see. Hunter's Mark gets in 5 more.
I
5
feel
plus
like
the 5 from
Buzzard.
the hero power. I think that's it. I think if he has Hunter's Mark, that might be the way to end the game. I think Amaz has jumped up to a 3-0 lead, if my calculations are correct.
That's it. You're right. That's exactly 10 points of damage
Boom.
right here, right now.
Amaz jumps out to game or match point already, and Reels has to rely on his last deck, which is his unique Warlock. I was not expecting this series to end 4-0, but Reels is not out of it. However, he has a huge mountain to climb as Amaz is up 3-0 at the moment.
This is so sick. I was thinking like Paladin would be the most played deck on ladder, but not anymore. This Hunter deck is plowing through all the decks that Reels is bringing to this game, and Reels is playing them really well. But on the other hand, Amaz knows exactly how to kill Reels with all those different scenarios. And I don't feel that the Demon Lock can actually stop this Hunter now. Looking at the Demon Lock, there is a lot of weird cards and a lot of interesting decisions. This deck is totally different. I'm not sure if Amaz knows what he's facing, but you have the taunts, which is cool. You have the board clears, but it's more of a handlock than Zoo. And what's the best counter to handlock, Froden?
It's Hunter. For sure. The hero power kind of plays into the fact that you're tapping. The kill commands reach beyond Molten Giants and taunts. So there's a lot, and sorry, also the Hunter's Mark allows you to bypass with deadly shots against big targets. So there's a lot of momentum on Amaz's side to potentially 4-0 sweep Reels. But, I don't know. I just have a feeling maybe Void Caller with Doomguard and an early Lord Jaraxxus can do some work. But then Lord Jaraxxus comes out and he gets Hunter's marked. How pitiful was that?
There's a couple of good ways that Hunter can actually use to deal with this board. It's like Jaraxxus is great. Voiter, a big Voiter is fantastic, especially when you get a 4/4 and a Voiter out of it. But hey, Hunter has Hunter's Mark, Deadly Shot, Iron Bengal, even a kill command. So there are so many ways to counter this deck. Reels will really have to step up his game even more, even though he is at his peak right now, playing really well all the cards he gets. He will have to do something really extraordinary to win versus this Hunter, Paladin, Priest, and Shaman to 4 Mass with the Demon Lock.
I think at the same time, you have to kind of really reset your head and clear your mindset because it's a new game. It's not indicative of anything. Like your RNG in the previous game was not going to affect you now. So Reels just has to kind of keep a good mindset. We've seen 4-0s in the past, even most recent memory with Savitz and Reynad. It is possible, but it's going to be very difficult if you're in Reels' spot. I don't know exactly what's even like a great starting hand versus this because it's such a unique deck. But I kind of feel like you have to abide by the same principles as Handlock, where if you feel like your opponent can be aggressive, you have to be aggressive back. So I think an early Ancient Watcher with maybe Iron Beak Owl might be good. And a Ruby and Egg, if you have something like Power Overwhelming, might not also be a bad combo, especially Void Terror. It feels like it really depends on your opening draws, how you play the matchup.
Well, the thing is, like, also Amaz is coming blind, so he can expect a zoo deck. So basically, being Amaz, you can actually keep the explosive traps in your opening hand because you feel like, hey, if this is a zoo, I really need those cards to be able to deal with the small minions. And then when you realize it's not a zoo, you will think like, hey, maybe this is a handlock then. So I will prioritize cards like Kill Command. But the thing is, like, then it's getting tricky because the Void Color is being dropped, and you're like, okay, what now? What what possible demon can I expect here? Do I silence it? Do I kill it? Do I silence whatever it drops? Also, Doomguards, like there's a lot of different things happening when you're playing versus this deck. So, and it's hard to expect what kind of deck is this. Like Sixo was running Demon Lock as well, but a totally different build with more minions, more aggression. Here it's kind of handlocky, but not really. The cards are totally different. So I'm really excited to see like how Amaz will be able to go and to play against this deck. How is he prepared? Did he actually face this kind of a deck on ladder before? Was he able to practice against this kind of deck? And even if he loses with his hunter, how how is he going to approach this deck with his other decks? What is good against it? What is bad against it? Do you know? It's like it's a new metagame. It's a new deck.
I'm not sure. I do know that Amaz really does favor Priest against like the Zoo because he likes having things like Cabal Shadow Priest of Steel minions, Alkanite for the clears, Pyromancers for the wipes. But this is a mixture of the Zoo and Handlock. Not sure. Don't really know how Paladin is able to match up against it because Paladin's great against Handlock, but sometimes weak against the Zoo. What I'm going to say is it really depends on Real's opening hand. And I love the keep of Ancient Watcher and Ironbeak Owl. I love the fact that you're able to turn the aggression. And Void Terror is actually a surprisingly effective card against Hunter, assuming they don't have Hunter's Mark, because you consolidate against things like Unleash the Hounds. You are vulnerable to Deadly Shot as well, opening hand, and Amaz is more capable of that. He's holding on to Deadly Shot as part of his opening hand, and that could also be a big factor against Void Terror.
Yes, certainly. Like looking at both players' hands, Reels, oh my god, he gets in the Rubenek, which is pretty nice. So he has to decide, is he going into the tone mode or is he just going for a big combo like Rubenek and then Void Terror?
Yes,
It's kind of,
now this is interesting now.
well, he knows how to play his own deck, so he will probably decide, but there is a couple ways to deal with this. You can kind of go into Ancient Watcher taunts to bait out removal, and then you play Egg Void Terror because you possibly baited out the removal, so there is no way to deal with this stuff. But you can also like go full combo here and just hope that there is no removal or nothing really good that I can actually deal with this. This is a 4-4 and a 3-5 on turn 3. How sick is this?
It's pretty disgusting. And Amaz does have a way to deal with one of them, the Deadly Shot. I don't think necessarily Houndmaster accomplishes much, but you can make an argument that it sets up better for things like Explosive Shot. He's going to go for the bow instead. Oh my, he's going to try to trade some of it to kill off this Rubian immediately, and hopefully the 1/1s can do some work.
The thing about the Void Terror is that even if it silences it, it's still a 3-3. It's not like Twilight Drake that after a silence, just 4-1, it's easy to kill. It's still a pretty nice minion.
Here, Realz has the opportunity to set up a taunt and make it a little bit difficult for his opponent to pass through. There is 5 damage represented, but the Ancient Watcher is a little bit passive otherwise. I think you can try to play a little bit for more board. In fact, I wouldn't be mad taunting both of them, even though you don't have to.
Yeah, it's pretty tricky because then, I mean, turn 5, you can actually silence the 4-5, attack with it, and play Harvest Golem if you want to. Then you have a Doomhammer, so like a Doomguard. So you have a lot of potential damage coming into this game, right here, right now. On the other hand, this is turn 4 with a coin for Amaz. So a possible Buzzard Unleash, but Amaz actually doesn't have those cards. He has to deal with what he has. And he doesn't have a beast on board because those Spectre Spiders are not beasts. They're ghosts? Specters, I guess.
There's something, but they're not beasts, and they don't get the Houndmaster buff. Amaz seems like he's just gonna try to load up the board a little bit with a web spinner. I wonder if he's also gonna try to push through with something like Deadly Shot and get lucky. But I think the Explosive Trap is just a way so that way he can get more mileage out of his excuse me, out of his Eagle Horn Bow, and next turn he can coin out something like Savannah Highmane. I think this is starting to weird him out because he just saw something like Nerubian Egg and Void Terror, and all of a sudden he sees Ancient Watcher and Taunt. So he's probably starting to make the conclusions that this is a unique deck that you don't often see. But at the same time, he has to be really cautious because you're not sure what your opponent's capable of.
It's definitely working in Realz's favor. It seems like Amaz is struggling. It's really hard to make those decisions, which card to play, what will be best. What should I expect from this deck? So, which cards should I actually keep? Should I keep my Iron Beagle because something big is coming? Or should I keep my Deadly Shot to use it against something? What do you deal with immediately? And right now, Realz is using this surprise factor to his advantage to pile up the damage, putting Amaz on 14 health with a Doomguard just waiting for the next turn to push for lethal.
If Amaz just coins out Savannah Hyman, he's dead. He has to kind of do something else. He has ways to set up taunt, but I think he wants more than anything something like Leox so he can address the board. Like Leoc, maybe something else. Oh, he trades in his web spinner and he gets into Iron for a Grizzly. That's a nice thing too. You might be able to set up 2 taunts with a Misha and an Iron for a Grizzly. That might be able to extend Amaz's life. But things like Doomguard is waiting in the horizon to potentially end the game. Oh, Misha it is. That is a very big roll.
I'm just counting as dead. Okay, he's not dead because he'll be able to trade 11.
Well, hold on. I mean, if he gets Soulfire, Realz might be able to do something here. Oh, never mind. I forgot the Iron for a Grizzly. No, Deadly Shot. He's going for a Deadly Shot, and it hits the Harvest Golem. And all of a sudden, you know, Soulfire off the top could have been the end of the game right there.
I guess you Deadly Shot because will you expect a Doomguard? Like, you've just seen the Handlock cards, so it can give you a hint like, hey, this deck is actually about taunts. So I would never expect a Doomguard in here. And he also haven't seen the Void Caller, so it's kind of like Void Caller would signal him, hey, there are some good and big demons in this deck, but there was no Void Caller. So right now, what am I even facing? What decisions am I making? So it's pretty hard. Being Realz in here, I guess you can Doomguard. Well, you can because how Amaz is going to win this game? Realz is just pushing with damage. He still has Power Overwhelming. Two copies in his deck. He has another Doomguard. He has one more Soulfire. So it looks pretty good for Realz with Amaz having only 5 points of health.
Yep. And I think Realz recognizes his opponent had the opportunity to play something like Unleash the Hounds with the Starving Buzz in the previous turn. So he's going to try to take his bet, leave as many minions as possible, and have as many opportunities to kill him in the next turn, depending on what buffs or cards he draws. Amaz top deck Stone Tusk Boar, which is not what he needed. He can set up a taunt with the Iron Fur Grizzly or the combination of Houndmaster plus something else, but effectively still does the same thing. 3 health points stand between him and defeat. And I think, let's see, he's not really able to kind of choose here. He's going to really hope his opponent doesn't have a way to push through and end the game.
Terrifying thing is that Realz has 28 points of health.
That's
oh my god, a Faceless.
Faceless Manipulator. Realz is still in this series. He can do it whatever way he likes. Either charger works in this scenario.
He can even life up.
We're going to game 5. Realz is not dead yet, but the surprise factor has been revealed. Or has it? Maybe Amaz is saying, is this like a weird Ancient Watcher but Zoo deck? He didn't see things like Giants or Jiraxis or Dread Infernals.
I think he has no idea.
Faceless is just like, whoa, what is going on?
the heck am I facing? Amaz is thinking like, okay, I've seen Vorter before. I know it's good with an Nerubian egg. I've seen a Doomguard, which is kind of weird. And I see the Ancient Watcher with a Sunfury Protector. So, what is this deck? What can I. And Faceless. So, should I expect Giants? Is it more of a handlock or is it more of a midrange? Like, what are the cards Reels is actually playing? So is
Mm.
he going for like emptying his hand? Because there is a couple of strategies. So you can basically like the zoo, you just empty your hand and then you live tap to get cards. And with handlock, you just live tap before and then you have a lot of cards, so you play those big minions. But here it's counterintuitive because you have Doom Guards, so basically you should kind of empty your hand. When you play Doomguard, you just discard one or two cards and you're fine. But this deck is weird. It's just you play it differently. You play it based on what cards you get. You can adjust. And now I feel like Amaz haven't seen enough to actually be able to devise a plan how to play against it. And he goes for Priest, as you said.
I think you're exactly right. The fact that Reels has lost 3 games and he doesn't have the ability to surprise the opponent as much is really valuable. The fact that Amaz can use 2 games to feel out what other cards are in this deck, I think he suspects Void Caller. If you have Doomguard, but yeah, at the same time, he can't really confirm until you see it. So maybe he's saving something like Paladin as his last, because if he feels like this is more mid range, maybe Paladin can be good. Like one of the things is Zoo is so fast that it outpaces Paladin, but if Zoo slows down, it plays directly into Paladin's strengths. It doesn't matter if you have Molten Giants, it doesn't matter if you have Dread Infernals and Doom Guards. If you play it kind of slow paced, Paladin can kind of respond. So maybe his end game is, well, I want to just feel out as much as possible and then save like a deck where I feel like it has the best chance of winning to the very end. So if I feel like by this, Priest is a good choice. If it wins, great, but I think he still has plenty of time to scout his opponent, collect intel, and then make a serious go with maybe his last 1 or 2 decks.
Priest is the best intel collecting deck ever. First, you stall, so you force your opponents to play those cards, especially in a deck that you have never faced. If they don't play the cards, you just steal their cards to look what they have. You fought steal, and you're like, aha, he's playing a Void Core. Aha, he's playing a Lord Jaraxxus. So I feel like Priest is the best deck to actually test the waters. Also, Amaz feels best with the Priest. He played millions of games, maybe not millions, but a lot of games with Priest against all those scenarios, all those weird decks on all the 3 continents, Asia and Europe. He's seen it all, and he knows how to react, how to adjust with the Priest. So I feel like this is the best pick for this game. And maybe he can actually defeat Reels with his Demon Lock with a Priest to win this tournament.
I think so. I think the Priest does specialize in a lot of the board clears. The injured Blade Master combos early is great for value. Pretty much tackles whatever comes out. Circle of Healing plus Akonai, everyone knows is one of the primary ways to defeat it. And then Pyromancer clears with power with shields, coins, Holy Smite, silences is great. And then, mid game, you still have good options. Holy Firewater comes out, or Cabal Shadow Priest to steal it to your side. Harrison Jones might be useless if Jeraxis does come out on turn 9 and Reels needs to take it a little bit slower. You never know. Maybe Amaz wins with the Harrison Jones against Jeraxis, and that would be pretty epic.
I want to see it. I really want to see it. Guys, you're watching VGVN Naxxramas a release tournament where Amaz will be playing against Reels with his back to the wall. Last deck standing. If Amaz wins this game, he will win the match and will win the whole tournament. If you want to be a winner as well, take part in our giveaway. Just type giveaway with exclamation mark on the chat. Then give us some kappas and give us some love as well. So I'm excited to see this game.
Yeah, the game should start in a couple seconds. again, keep in mind, guys, that this is the first of hopefully many other tournaments, and the best way to do is to sign up for VGVN stuff. I think they're going to make a transition to make it more live in the future, but with things like Naxxramas constantly releasing in weeks, it's a little bit difficult to coordinate all the schedules together. The game has begun, so will Realz continue the comeback, or will Amaz end it here? His starting hand is reasonable, although I think he would like to have things like Injured Blade Master Circle, the Northshire Cleric to get the draws going, so that way Priest has many responses. It's very easy for Priest to draw their higher end mana cost curves and then not have anything to do after the first early game openings. And Amaz does have Thought Steal though, so that is a nice way to, if he runs out of cards, to be able to pick up what Realz has and then respond.
I see a potential problem, by the way. Nerubian Egg spawns a 4/4 Nerubian. Ancient Watcher is a 4 attack 5 health minion, and this is something that Priest really doesn't like.
This is an innervated Yeti for Realz. And now this Yeti is going to be able to destroy, but of course the Yeti is the Ancient Watcher that's been silenced, and Innervate is a 2/1 that gets pushed out, so this is a little bit better actually. Amaz is going to struggle with this a lot unless he finds a way to piece it together. Something like the Akanai Soul Priest with Circle of Healing could redeem him, unless there's no way for Realz to deal with this Pyromancer. That Pyromancer was a great draw.
Pyromancer is pretty nice. You kind of want to have a coin, but still, he just dealt with the board, kind of. He can easily trade with the 4/2. So now for Realz, it's to decide if I want to leave the Pyromancer on board, or do I just want to trade. It's a pretty tricky spot. It's like, are you an aggressor here? Should I just attack face, deal 4 damage, or should I trade and play a Harvest Golem? Harvest Golem, on the other hand, is not that exciting versus Priest because of Shadow Word Madness. So I guess you trade.
Yeah, you can't ever leave the Pyromancer. There's just way too many combos with Power Word Shield, Circle of Healings, and then you lose your board, and for some reason it has never died. Amaz just throws out the Akanai Soul Priest, and he really hopes his opponent doesn't have something like Soulfire. And fortunately for him, hold that thought. Realz has actually top decked the Soulfire.
Pretty nice, I'd have to say. Soulfire is one of the, Akanai Soul Priest is one of those cards which is pretty important versus decks like Handlock. With the Circle of Healing combo, you can clear the board effectively, but if it dies early, and it was a pretty nice play to play it because it was pretty good on curve at 3/5 stats, this card is pretty nice.
Realz choose to leave it up, so that way maybe he can use Soulfire to respond. I think also you want to drop something like Lotheb. You don't want to risk losing something really important, your future drop. So Soulfire is still going to come out. Whether or not this Harvest Golem was able to survive, I guess you trade the Damage Golem.
So being Amaz, how do you win this game? You're playing a Priest. You play a really weird deck, and basically, Amaz was playing Mind Blast before, so versus Handlock, you were just dealing some damage, you were clearing the board with the cards you had, and then you were finishing off with Handlock. But here, it's kind of weird. Like, he will be fighting for board control. How do you win?
The same way that Priest wins against Zoo. Because he still thinks it is Zoo to a certain degree. It's like Zoo with Ancient Watchers. That's all he's seen. He hasn't seen the Siphon Soul. He hasn't seen things like he did see a Molten Giant. Excuse me. He did see the Molten Giant was discarded with the Soulfire. So that's a really interesting card too. So now I think Amaz is starting to piece things together. He's saying, is this just a weird hybrid of having a mid-range Zoo handlock thing type deck? That's kind of like what's going on through his head.
Oh yeah, definitely.
As he kind of mulligans over all situations.
With Power Overwhelming and Harvest Golem stolen from the Warlock deck here. And Realz is going for Doomguard. Pretty strong play.
I think he has to make these plays. It is going to be a little painful, but he's also resilient to things like Holy Nova with that Nerubian Egg.
Holy Smite.
Holy Smite, Holy Nova, unfortunately. Can he kind of piece these together?
Well, he can clear kind of, and just leave the 4 for Nerubian. And the thing is, like, Realz is out of cards. On the other side, he has the life tap. He was putting an aggression here, so he's pretty comfortable with just life tapping every turn now and getting those cards.
Yeah, I think Amaz does not want to throw away this Northside Cleric, by the way. That's his primary way to draw. And he can do it next turn too with some power overwhelming, Holy Nova heals, and even some lesser heals with his hero power. So Amaz is gonna take it slow, no need to kind of fill up the board necessarily. Zoo is still playing it slow too, or handlock, or whatever, both.
Double egg. This is interesting.
It's really strong against Holy Nova boards. And Realz is feeling the pressure to try and control whatever comes out. Because, again, he is more of that board control-oriented deck. I mean, this kind of Warlock has always been about board control, whether you're Zoo or your Handlock, because then you're able to pressure. And Priest can do so much if you buff it to a health where they can continue to pick favorable trades.
Kabul Shadow Priest would be so important. And it's so funny here that the Holy Nova is just a no-go versus those guys. On the other hand, if Amaz is going to just kill the 5-2 and be able to use his Holy Nova next turn to deal 3 points of damage to the spiders, like enable the spiders somehow and then use the Holy Nova to actually like.
Oh jeez. Oh my god, he has Void Terror to activate the eggs too. Now, of course, he's trying to make his board a little bit more resilient and he can play the slow game, starting to life tap back into it in the card advantage. But that is a really important card, too, to completely load the board against Priest and make it difficult for them to fight back because they don't have a way to answer those 4-tech creatures easily.
Well, also, what's important is that Amaz is not able to deal any points of damage to his minion so that he can heal himself.
No! What if he top decks Jiraxxus? No, he's not gonna do it. Because it puts him at 15 health and then he might die to just 7 damage or something.
Yeah, Jiraxxus is useless in this kind of matchup, but basically when you're playing versus aggressive deck, Jiraxxus is a pretty nice card to have.
What? You think Jiraxxus is useless against Priest? Like, at a certain stage of the game where Priest, like, uses all the removals, like, Jiraxxus plus the Infernos that come out with hero power, like, Priest doesn't have enough Shadow Word Deaths in their life. They can't just keep up with it. I think this is, like, super late game, though.
In those super late game games when you go like into attrition war, you don't have the cards out. Yeah, but still in this game, Realz is an aggressor. He wants to deal as much damage as possible. So Jiraxxus might be kind of weird.
What if Jiraxxus dies to a Shadow Word Pain? Like, as you push it out with Void Caller, and then you just you kill Jiraxxus, a 9 mana cost minion with 3 attack and 15 health.
I still feel like
Hunter's Mark, I can ever imagine.
Hunter's Mark and Stone Tusk Boar into Jiraxxus is just more disgusting.
That's true, you're using 1 mana. Void Terror looks like he's flirting with the idea of pushing it out, but he holds for 1 more turn at least. Again, really hoping his opponent doesn't have let's see, the Shadow Priest, so that way he can't steal one of these eggs, but he's going to cash in 1 and still make it pretty resilient against AoE. I like it. Rio's starting to push back.
This is a really smart play, by the way. The Okanai Soul Priest plus Circle of Healing. Those eggs are pretty nice, but you don't want to activate everything so that the priest just resets the board.
Well, there is a Ragnaros top deck, and if there's one card that can decide the series outcome, I think Amaz has finally found it. I don't know if it's time for it just yet, but know that Amaz's ace in the hole is in his back pocket. It is not time to YOLO rag.
That 1 free egg is so annoying. Do you just attack into it? Can you Holy Fire? Holy Nova?
He doesn't have Holy Fire.
Holy Nova.
I guess you could. Oh, he is YOLO ragging. Never mind. Hold that thought. He has seen Siphon Soul, so I guess he's just going to go for it. And he hits the Nerubian. Oh, but look at this. Nice. Realz top decks a Faceless Manipulator. He can also kill off this Farseer and then go for his own 50-50.
Oh, man. This is a big moment.
Wait, he's stopping to think about this.
How do you defeat the Ragnaros? Amaz Ragnaros. You probably just copy it.
Do you tap first to feel like what you can get? Are you happy with what you have?
Without a removal they have, he's running one Siphon Soul, and that is out of the way. Do you try to tap into a Power Overwhelming, maybe, kind of? That would be so nice. Like, Faceless, the 8-8, and then Power Overwhelming, the 4-6, and run into a Ragnaros.
I think it wouldn't be that bad. Oh, he gets a Shadow Flame.
It's kind of like a blank, so you basically go for the 50-50, I guess.
I think so. I think Realz doesn't really like playing the RNG game versus Amaz, but he's almost out of time, so he's going to go for it. And this could be a big moment in the entire series.
What it's gonna be.
Realz can get this big coin flip.
And he gets it!
Amaz's Rag is down. And there's
How do
no
you
sign of
feel?
another Ragnaros coming in. And he doesn't have a way to deal with it. There's no Shadow Word Death. He has to heal or something with his Northshire Cleric. He has to heal his opponent's Void Terror for a chance to deal with the Ragnaros.
I
That's
love
what
how
it's come
Realz
down
is
to.
actually playing around this Northshire Cleric. There was nothing to heal for so many turns.
Is someone injured?
I
Let's
guess he
see
has
what
to
he
go for it.
gets.
Oh, he's going for
Pyromancer
Holy
might be an
Nova.
opportunity to it. Ooh. He doesn't want to heal that minion whatsoever. Might be a really costly sacrifice for Amaz, but one that he probably has to take. Oh, in fact, he doesn't even go for it. He's trying to go for the double heal and try to draw. So Power Overwhelming has been used to cycle for 2 cards. He's just sitting on a good amount of health, but Realz should be in firm control at this moment. By the way, Power Overwhelming draw. Realz was looking for that in the previous turn.
And he
Double
got the
Power
double.
Overwhelming.
If you, by the way, this is so sick. If you use Iron Beak out on your own Ragnaros, then you double Power Overwhelming it, and you just deal 16 points of damage. But here, Amaz still didn't get any option to actually answer the Ragnaros, even though it hits the Cleric.
Yikes. That cleric has certainly died for many sins to take an 8 damage Ragnaros shot to the face.
Sylvanas is pretty nice.
Sylvanas is excellent. That might be a way for him to climb back into it.
And Realz doesn't have a good way to actually deal with that Sylvanas right away.
See, wait. There's 8. Another 8, 16. 21. If that all went to face, it's only 29 damage. Only
1
29
damage
damage.
off lethal.
Well, 1 damage off hypothetical lethal. One and then a potential disaster if it hits Sylvanas with the Ragnaros shot.
And you just empty your hand with the Doom Guard and a double Power Overwhelming. So yeah, would you go for it? You're with your back to the wall. You have to win this game.
Void Caller has made an appearance and it might summon Doomguard or Void Terror too. What if it summons a 3/3 Void Terror just naked?
What do you even do with the Sylvanas now?
Oh, no. You summon it with Void Caller immediately, of course. What am I thinking? I thought he didn't have enough mana to do it. He can push out the Doomguard and then just load it up so that way he has a strong board. That is incredible. The amount of explosion that he has. And Realz is going to push for damage. This Sylvanas could be a big turn if he's able to land.
50-50
no.
doesn't hit. Well, Amaz now
is a power word shield. The screen is freezing a little bit because Ragnaros has shaken the board so much. Amaz's screen is going a little bit gray.
Oh man, what do you even do in here?
Oh, he's
How
gonna.
can you win this?
A holy fire.
Holy fire.
That can reduce some of the odds of drawing a weaker minion. He can holy fire, say the Doom Guard, and steal one of these bigger creatures.
Do you kill the Ragnaros, by the way?
Oh, I think you have to. As much as you'd love to steal it, I think it's time to wipe it from the board. You can maybe even make it up by taking an 8/8 giant that you can direct it. So it's like having Ragnaros, but you choose where to attack. Oh man, a little bit of malfunction. But stay with us, guys. The stream is still live. Nothing has gone down. No DDoS. The moment of truth. He's going to attack into Rag, but he wants to steal a Molten Giant.
This is getting so exciting right now.
It's exciting because we don't know what's going on. He
Gets
steals Falling
giants.
Giant.
Wait, is that it? No, it's not. Oh my
No, no
god,
way.
this is
The Holy
14 points of
Fire.
damage.
Yeah, the Holy Fire restored a lot of health. If he wasn't able to draw Holy Fire, I think that would have been game.
Look at Reels, by the way. Reels only has 14 points of health and he's life tapping. If
Oh
Amaz is able to
dear.
get a second Holy Fire, that will be game.
I don't even know, but you're absolutely right. If there's any way, I don't think he's running Mind Blast anymore, but if there was a way for him to deal that damage, it might be able to end the game. Reels might feel pressure to use Power Overwhelming and Shadow
Trade?
Flame. Yep.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Shadow Flame power here. What can Amaz possibly draw to be able to kill
Shadow Word
this?
Death! Right off the top, Amazin.
Oh
I think
my god, this
Shadow
is
Priest.
Amaz.
I think you have to drop Cabal Shadow Priest, don't you?
Oh yeah, definitely. You want? Well, your opponent has only 12 points of health.
I
By
think
the
that
way,
pressure is necessary. You're not afraid. Oh, maybe he's afraid of Leroy and faces combos,
Axis.
but I think you got to go for it. Your opponent's low enough, and just like before, something like Faceless, or sorry, something like Holy Fire might end the game.
Reels is just tapping like a madman. He's not afraid of this priest. He's just getting those cards.
Wait. He might have Jiraxis, right? In the next coming turns, he might
Yeah,
be
he
able to
can.
heal back up to 15, and we said Jiraxis might not be a high impact card.
Well, right now Jiraxis will be pretty nice.
Holy smoke, Circle of Healing. So at
Circle of
least he's
Healing
able
is
to
actually not
restore
that
his
bad
health.
in here, by the way.
Hmm.
It's just if you're afraid of the demons, are you afraid of the demons, Froden? Because if Amaz is afraid of the demons right now, he won't attack into that 3-4, but he has to.
I think if you suspect a Jiraxis, you don't let him summon it to his hero, because he heals for 5 at least. Not to mention that he's starting to put out 6/6 Infernals, so you have to summon him.
This is so crazy. This is still anybody's game.
Amaz
Dude,
is so close to potentially finishing it, but so far at the same time.
Do you attack into that 3-4?
What if he draws Thought Steal and takes Jiraxis before Realz is able to draw Jiraxis?
Oh my god, if he steals Jiraxis, that will be so hilarious.
Oh man,
Do you-
I don't think he has
do you
opportunity.
actually heal?
Realz has only 2 cards left. Or 3 cards. He has 3 cards left.
No
One of them
Jiraxis still.
isn't Jiraxis.
Do you tap? Being Reels. He tapped so much.
Defender of Argus becomes so much weaker, though, if you use something like Hellfire and trade. But at the same time, Jiraxis is now getting to the stage where he's going to be taking fatigue damage, and Infernals do take a turn or two to set up. So if Amaz has ways to kind of play keep away with Shadow Word Deaths, maybe, I don't know, it's going to be really tough.
Oh man, this game is so crazy. He used both Molten Giants. He has the Jiraxis. What else he has in his deck? So far, it was probably used. It was used. Double Power Overwhelming. There is no Leroy, if I remember correctly. On the other hand, Amaz has a lot of cool cards. He still has a second Holy Fire.
A tough decision for Reels. What's the last card remaining, too? He's
Got
going to go to the
Jiraxis.
top.
Oh my god. Jiraxis is coming there next turn.
It's not Jiraxis on his last. I can't see this. The screen's gray right now. It is a Jiraxis. He's tapping for it, but he will be out of cards the following turn. But it's okay because he's going to heal. Jiraxis has kind of worked as a contingency plan. This game is actually crazy, and I think with Jiraxis in hand, that seals the fate though, because Amaz can't. He can't do anything. Like he can't fight against it. He has no minions.
And with
What?
Shadow Flame, it's just clearing the board, and Jiraxis is coming next
no.
turn. Holy Nova is not enough.
But oh man, what Amaz might be thinking is if he top decks something like Holy Fire, he can't play Holy Fire and Holy Nova, and he might need his opponent to fatigue, so he might play Holy Nova here. There's a chance,
Well, he still has some time, I guess.
but he doesn't know his opponent's playing Jiraxis. So if he plays Holy Nova, it plays straight into the win condition. I think Realz has has won this game. I don't know if Amaz can kind of come back from here unless he's holding out on something surprising because he's used his Ragnaros already.
I feel like there is no point in playing Holy Nova because even if you get a whole Holy Fire, you won't be able to win the game right there. And Realz is out of cards. He's playing Jiraxis.
He's got Defender of Argus too, and Amaz, his eyes are probably getting wide open, and his hands are going behind his head, rubbing and trying to frantically squeal his way out of this. Because I don't think he can. I don't think he can find a way out of it whatsoever. There's been nothing. If he there's like the only way he can is Sacrificial Pact, which is not even possible.
Gets a silence, which is a blank.
Uh-oh.
This
Well,
looks
the
bad.
first fatigue damage. But I think with Inferno, Harvest Golem, Defender of Argus, and even Hellfire, Amaz can't win this game, unfortunately.
This is
But
looking
wow,
pretty bad
what
for
a
Amaz.
crazy way to end this game.
Holy Fire! Oh my god. Wait. But he won't be able to use it. This Holy
No.
Fire is 2 turns too late. Amaz is dead next turn, right?
I'm thinking of every possible scenario. Can he even survive and potentially drag this out into something? But
6
I don't
point
think
of damage
so.
incoming from Jiraxis and Hellfire. So you have to clear the board. There is no way. And you won't be able to clear the board. The damaged golem is actually killing you.
That this game has gone down to fatigue, and we expected it to be a game that maybe ended fast. But it looks like Realz will be sending it to game number 6.
On the other hand, Amaz has seen all the cards apart from that one Hellfire. So right now he knows exactly what kind of deck he's facing.
He's probably sliding Repentance into his Paladin deck, so when Jiraxis gets played, it comes out with 1 HP. It's probably not happening whatsoever, but kind of cool fact. Jiraxis does get affected by
that's
that.
a kind of like a sick counter. So that's it.
Yep, Amaz kind of just passing here, but there's a lot of damage being taken because of the Hellfire.
9 plus
And
6
that's going to
is
be able
15.
to end the game.
That's
Real
game.
sends it to game 6 with his Demon Lock deck that's surprising everybody in the tournament because of the weird cool cards. And just like you mentioned, Hellfire is that 30th card, so now Amaz has full intel. He's been keeping track. He should have. He should be knowing what's exactly been going on.
I would say this deck is actually surprising Greals as well. With what's happening, it's like I'm stunned. I don't even know what to say. This deck is just crazy. How do you even fight against it? It's like a mid-range deck, then it's doing just a lot of work.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, I think the plan here still hasn't changed course whatsoever. Amaz is going to go with Shaman, and Shaman's going to maybe have good efficient removal. Maybe you have Lightning Storm to clear boards, Hexes for the big creatures, and now he has a good idea with it. Remember, he's playing cards like Baron Rivendare too, so maybe the value on the Rubian Eggs will double up and allow him to fight more efficiently against these minions. Even so, I think Paladin always has a great shot against these kinds of big loaded creature decks because you have Equality and you have Kodos with the Outer Peacekeepers. So I think Mods can still do this, but man, Rios has made it an entertaining show for 2 games straight. He was down 0-3 and now has climbed back with 2 straight wins off his Demon deck.
Oh man, I don't know what to say because Shaman is actually a pretty weird situation here. Normally, Shaman kind of counters Handlock or a Handlock-ish type of deck because you have those Airshocks for Twilight Drakes and you can also deal with the Giants pretty easily. But hey, this Warlock has no Twilight Drakes. It has no Mountain Giants. It's way different than what Handlock is playing. And but it has Hellfire and it also has Shadow Flame and those Ancient Watchers. So it kind of has all the cards that are annoying for Shaman, but doesn't have the cards that give Shaman a lead if Shaman is able to deal with them. Shaman has Hexes and has those Airshocks. But man, there are so many targets here. There are so many cards that you want to deal with, that you want to silence, you want to hex. Almost everything. So I'm really curious, like, what kind of game plan is Realz going to equip here at this moment to play versus Shaman, it will be pretty exciting match. It's a new meta game, guys. We are watching something totally new. Nothing like this was ever shown on Twitch with this kind of deck facing a Shaman. This is the first time. We have no idea what will happen.
And at the same time, we haven't seen Baron Rivendare in his full potential either. So as much as we're kind of admiring Realz and stroking his brilliant deck prowess, I think Amaz also is trying to bring something a little bit more unique with the one copy of Ancestral Spirit and Reincarnate, the new Shaman card released last week. So if we see these kinds of combos go off, what if it's this scenario where there's Molten Giants out and then you Sylvanas Reincarnate? Late game Sylvanas Reincarnate, I think, is just one of the best combos for like control battles because now you have two copies of Sylvanas. You just stole one of their big minions, and now all of a sudden the board feels like it belongs to you because you're able to squeeze in something else like like an Earthshock and Lightning Bolt too.
I would certainly love to see that. Amaz loves these combos, and he wasn't able to use the Ancestral Spirit Reincarnate combo before, but maybe this is the time. Maybe this is the match that this combo will actually shine and win him this tournament. So I'm definitely excited to see. Also, Baron, Rivendare. Like, Baron has so much potential with all those Devradel cards, and we haven't seen him doing work before. So maybe this time Amaz will actually get Baron at the right moment, the right time, and we'll be able to use those Haunted Creepers and Ruben Eggs to double the Fraddle. And just, Baron is also a card that has 7 health, so it tanks a lot of damage. It's hard. Even if you silence it, it's still a 1/7 that you have to deal with somehow. But even after silencing it, Amaz still has this reincarnate, so he can reincarnate his own Baron even there to kind of unsilence it. So yeah, there are so many options.
Absolutely, guys. While we have a quick second, please once again check out what the VGVN guys are doing over there at the bottom of the Twitch page. Also giving away that PC. It's coming to the end of the tournament, so we don't want anybody to miss out on the opportunity. We really appreciate all of the support that the community has been given to the VGVN guys. And I think there is good positive news that there are more tournaments like this will be in the future because of everyone's activity. Hearthstone guys have been great. Everyone's been showing up. Tournaments, people have been posting they've been enjoying it more, and we thank you guys so much. Hope you guys are enjoying all the small little quirks too, whether it's the art, whether it's all the presentation of things. And the fact that Naxxramas has been out, but it's still not done yet, is so thrilling for future prospects of tournaments because next week the Construct Quarter comes out with things like the Wailing Souls and the Zombie Chows and the Mad Scientist. So I can't even begin to fathom all of the cool combos with secrets. But then when something like the Undertaker comes out, then Death Rattle decks will be in full force. The game has begun, by the way, and Amaz wants to close out the series. He's been leading 3-0 for so long. Will this be the game he ends it, or will Realz tie it up against all odds and send it to the Game 7?
He is one game off lethal. Can you actually say that?
Job's done.
One game off lethal, I guess. That's
Kind
one
of.
way to put it.
Okay, so looking at the Realz hand is pretty interesting as well. He gets Nerubinek again with a Void Terror. No Void Color. Come on! It's like I love that Void Color guy. It's having so mumuch synergy with Jaraxxus turn 4 and stuff, and like Doomguards out of nowhere. But he's just not drawing into it. So here he was just going to execute his standard plan with Nerubinek into Void Terror.
Job's done.
On the other hand, Amaz has a Hex, has an Earthshock, has a lot of ways to actually deal with this.
Yeah, I think there's no rush, though. Dropping the Haunted Creeper is excellent. Realz was taking his time, too, on turn 2, starting up a fire. Maybe he's getting a little cold where he is, but it's California. I can't imagine it ever getting cold, especially in the summer. Shout out to all the West Coast people. They're probably the ones watching because it is pretty late. Coming up on 5 a.m. for Central European time, but it's coming up on the prime time for U.S. Thank you so much, everyone who's been kind of tuning in and watching. It's been an enjoyable tournament, and Amaz is in prime position for the third game in a row to end this series, but Realz has been surprising all tournament long, and once again, the grand finals. He plays a Harvest Golem, and it seems like he's just going to continue to build his board because he's given up the ability to use his Nerubian Egg. Ooh! And he draws Power Overwhelming just after his Nerubian Egg gets destroyed.
Power Overwhelming might still be a nice card to have, and Now the question is, do you kind of trade or do you go for face? Those minions that Amaz has played, 1-2 the throttle, 2-3 the throttle, they are so sticky. So trading here is pretty weird. You can possibly play Defender Vargas and buff your Harvest Golem to trade with Harvest Golem, but still you have to deal with the 2-1 damage token and that spider. You've seen the Airshock. Do you use Power Overwhelming on the Golem, deal 6 damage to face, and then play a Void Terror to get... Oh my god, how much is this even? This is +6, +7. This is a 9-10 Void Terror, and you still get the damaged Golem in the end.
I think that's too all in, and you might just lose to something like Hex. I think Realz has come this far. Oh, is he really gonna do it though?
There is also
wow.
faces for turn 5, so if there is no Hex, you can have a pretty sick follow-up.
I guess rather playing it slow than something like Defender of Argus, and then hopefully into something better, and then Dread Inferno is a little bit too slow for Realz's taste.
Oh my god, but Amaz was definitely playing Hex in here.
No, of course. You have to Hex here.
Wait, do you really have to Hex? You can actually you can Earthshock this? Because Hex is pretty good versus like
you're
Doomguard
right.
as well.
You can Earthshock and then use your damage golem to trade.
Do you Earthshock and Lightning Storm? Possibly. Totem Earthshock. This is also viable.
Okay. He's always using, the Hex makes sense because he's seen Molten Giants and he wants to go for those favorable trades. And Amaz is playing super safe once again.
A pretty good play from Amaz. It's like that Airshock was pretty important. Using Hex here might be devastating because you will be those Hex short for the later turns where you see Dread Inferno, Doomguard, Molten Giant, and all the big guys. Even Lotheb is hard to deal with as well. He picks up Doomhammer. Amaz is going into an aggro mode in here, and Realz doesn't have those Molten Giants yet, so if he's not going to draw into them, he might be in a lot of trouble.
Yeah. Here's Dread Inferno to clear up some of the 1/1 tokens, by the way, and put some pressure on the board, making it much more difficult to remove. And again, it's one of those things that kind of, should I be hexing this? And, what about with the Molten Giants inevitably? It's like a big enough mid-range creature that you feel like you have to spend removal on, and that's, as much as Realz isn't happy about it right now, eventually down the line when things like Doomguard comes out and whatever else, it also means that the removal's been spent on those kinds of creatures instead.
What's important from Amaz's side is that now he will be able to play the Fire Elemental next turn, also with a Lightning bolt, and still he has this Doomhammer doing a lot of work. But I really shout out to Realz in here, because we were talking about this deck before. This deck is built kind of around Void Caller, and we haven't seen that Void Caller doing any work in the last 2 games. This game, Void Caller is also not here, and if you're building a deck around Void Caller, you have to make sure that this deck actually works if you don't draw the combo card. And I'd say this deck actually works pretty nicely.
I think when Realz sees a Hex and 2 Earthshocks and just seeing a lot of the removal being put out, I think he feels comfortable playing Doomguard. It's about whether or not you want to tap for a card or you want to play something like Sun Fury and taunt it up.
Do you Sun Fury and then Doomguard?
Sun Fury the 4/4, so that way Doomguard is better protected.
Yeah.
I like it. I think it's good.
You also build like a considered board here, so you won't be able to drop the Doomguard.
Okay. Well, he wants to get a little bit more value out of cards. Doomguard only goes straight into a 0/1, so it doesn't feel very good. That totem becomes a 0/5. So you just try to poke it a little bit beforehand, and then Doomguard comes in a turn where he has to kind of answer it, but he's also taking 5 damage per turn.
So being Amaz, do you kind of clear?
With Lightning Storm?
I'm thinking about Fire Element. Oh, there's a couple of options here. You can attack into the 5/5, attack into the 3/4, take 8 points of damage. Well, you're an aggressive player, so you kind of can pay the cost. And Fire Elemental, or you can just Rockbiter and just clear. You can just
Rockbiter Elemental to clear the board. I think that's not bad. Your opponent is already at 19 though, and you feel like you might want to save that for the burst opportunity.
Well, he will have a lot of burst if he saves that with Rogue Biter and Light Bolt.
Wow, so he is going to save it. All right, Real's top deck Sun Fury Protector.
Well, to be honest, like next turn, Amaz is able to play Azure Drake and Lightning Storm, which will be pretty good. And that 5/5 taunt, even though it looks big, it just can't attack. It's a pacifist, so he won't be afraid of this guy.
Realz is also not sitting at the most comfortable amount of health. We kind of mentioned the burst that Amaz has. And, you know, if he's able to deal with it easily,
Doomhammer.
It becomes increasingly difficult for Realz to fight back, but he does have big creature potential. He can use Faceless Manipulator, he can use Void Terror if he wants to.
This is kind of clunky, actually, because you will be able to use only one card. You can actually Shadow Flame. Do you Shadow Flame in here?
It really depends on how much of a threat he feels like he's under.
Shadow Flame the 5/5, then attack for free.
I got this.
You still kind of have the minion.
I think Faceless is also powerful too.
Yeah, just like extend your board. But now, the Lightning Storm. Azure Drake Lightning Storm?
3 to 4. You have to roll high, and then you're still going to be taking some damage back. But
I guess
that is a viable option.
I guess you Azure Drake anyway, because there is nothing else that's really good in here, unless you want to use that Rogue Biter and just kill those guys. Well, you can possibly, with the Rogue Biter, you can possibly clear the board, clear the taunts, and then you can still play that Azure Drake, honestly.
What to do?
This is another card. You will see what you get, and then you can attack for 6. Or even play a Flame Tongue Totem and attack for 8. Get them to 9 points of health. I guess you might be afraid of the Molten Giants, so it's kind of tricky. But I like the Rogue Biter play, by the way. Rogue Biter, clear, attack for 6.
There's little time.
No, Azure Drake.
Well, I wonder if he was trying to go for the spell power totem, so that way he can get a good roll and then use Flame Tongue Totem to kind of clean up. He's going to use Rock Biter and Lightning Bolt instead, saving himself the Azure Drake. I suppose he's seen Shadow Flame, so he doesn't want to overextend into Shadow Flame either, which makes sense. But then, as a result, this Fire Elemental is seeing passive turns. He wants to go for a finish next turn too with Rock Biter plus the Flame Tongue Totem. This is the ideal way for him to end the game, so Amaz is setting himself for lethal, but we know that Shadow Flame can change things.
Shadow Flame can change things, Lothep can change a lot. Realz has a lot of ways to actually stop the rampage here. The thing is, like, the taunt is going away, and Amaz still has that Rogue Biter. If he gets a second Rogue Biter, that's game. Oh no, it isn't, because there is Lothep. So I guess Azure Drake is the card.
Yep, you're forced to Drake and see what you get. And good thing he didn't play into the Shadow Flame. At least that's what Amaz was thinking. So his plan ended up working out beautifully.
Power overwhelming. Oh my god.
Set up a 12-12. No, yeah, 12-12 if you absorb it with Void Terror. Just
Well, the thing
way
is, like,
too crazy powerful.
Look how much damage there is on the real side. Is he wasn't able to deal any damage almost to Shaman, but if he will be in a situation where Shaman is down to 15, he can just like pull 14 points of damage here out of nowhere. Also, he can make those sick plays like power. Oh my god, this is
Wow, Soulfire to kill off the
80
Drake.
points of damage out of nowhere.
But I think the Soulfire on the Drake is good. You control the board. Oh man, and he's already seen things like 2 Earthshocks and a Hex. He might feel so tempted to go for this big play. How does your opponent deal with it? They play Feral Spirits and you're sad, you're depressed. You just start pulling out your beer and drinking your sorrows away because they played Feral Spirits and rolled a Taunt Totem.
But he still has a Hellfire. He's going for his play. He's going for power with her.
Oh man, at least he kept Doomguard.
Come
He kept
on.
Doomguard, but now he can play Doomguard, and I guess he compensates the damage, and this way he's not super all in. So Realz going for a more spread out approach, diversification. I like it. Financially, it makes sense. And Hearthstone, I think it's safe. It makes your bets better against the field.
Right now, he's set up himself in a really good position, by the way. He has those 2 big minions. Even if Amaz plays Fire Elemental,
I wonder.
Realz is still able to just push 10 points of damage out of nowhere, and he will be drawing 2 cards next turn, whatever happens. And Amaz doesn't actually have a good way to follow up in here. Like, if he plays Fire Elemental, yeah, he kills the 2 free, but what then? He can actually
Ancestral
go with the Rock
Spirit,
Rider, by
I
the way.
think, comes down, maybe. Ooh. This is gonna hurt, because this is the damage you're gonna be taking anyways, but Amaz is gonna commit to it. Ancestral Spirit does pop down, so that way this Fire Elemental most likely will stay. And so maybe Amaz can find a way to end it. Shadow Flame doesn't give him the answer. Oh, he has an Iron Beak Owl to
Yes, Iron-
silence the Ancestral Spirit.
Oh my god.
And Realz
Amaz-
has to go.
Amaz needs something. Like, he needs an Alakir.
Second Rock Biter, Alec here. I don't know. Will this be the series defining draw? Sylvanas is not
card.
it. He's looking at 7 damage. Taunt Totem would still be great.
You kill the Iron Beak, by the way, so that it doesn't kill your totem, so you can get the value of all those Flame Tongues. You play Sylvanas. Do you play Sylvanas? Like, Sylvanas seems so wasteful.
It's at this
do you
point,
kill
it's
Doomguard?
kind of like a gain 7 health, maybe.
I
don't
guess
know.
you kill Doomguard here, by the way, because it has only 1 health. So you kill Doomguard, and then you have the Sylvanas with the totem. Sylvanas actually finishes the game. If Realz is not able to respond to Sylvanas, he will just lose.
I wonder.
But he also has Shadow Flame, so if he picks up something like Power Overwhelming, no, if he picks up Power Overwhelming, he just attacks straight to the face, and that's game.
Yeah,
Realz is not out of this. He still has a 4 damage outer. Any
Power
4
Overwhelm-
damage will do will send
Doomguard.
it into overtime, basically.
Oh my god, those 2 cards,
No
those
cards.
next cards will.
He needs
side
a
the
Soul
game.
Fire. He needs a Soul Fire. I think, I don't know, any kind of ways to do
Hellfire
damage.
is
Doomguard
also
number 2.
good. Void
Void
Caller is
Caller.
loaded. You tap.
Wait, but Void Caller clears the board.
Oh yeah, it does.
Void Caller clears the board, and it summons whatever demon's in his hand.
Do you tap then?
You absolutely tap Siphon Soul.
So you
I
clear with
think
the
you gotta
Void
go
Caller.
for the board clear here.
Oh my god, this game is so sick. Amaz doesn't have a way to actually finish it next turn. He needs that Alakir.
Oh, if he had something like a Doomguard or Jiraxis or Dread Infernal, that could have been potential checkmate, but now it's back over to Amaz, where he draws a Hex, which is,
Hex. It's so
I guess it's
unexciting.
great against whatever comes out, but you're still afraid of something like Doomguard. At least you're at 6 health. Taunt Totem
Taunt
is
Totem.
so clutch.
Pretty nice.
That is super clutch.
Oh my god, a Hellfire.
Oh man, you feel like you have to tap Molten Giant. But it will get hexed, and this is where we're saying it was very valuable. Do you have to Siphon Soul a Taunt Totem?
I
Oh
think
my
we do.
god.
This is so sick. This game is just insane. What is going on even? Now
Amaz
he's
needs
the Alakir.
something.
There's
No.
He has to
He
hack.
is looking for Alec here. You're absolutely correct. And he's still being cautious not to overextend.
That totem is a winning condition. I mean,
Jiraxis has made an
Jiraxis.
appearance. Realz is still in it. He just attacked. He's 1 turn away, which means
how is he doing it?
Amaz has to win with this right now, but he can't. Which means I think Realz has this because Hellfire is guaranteed lethal.
Yeah, and the hacks as well.
Wait,
So
no. Unless Amaz is able to do damage. No,
Feral
Feral
Spirits.
Spirits is not it. We're going to game number 7.
Oh my god, how is this possible? With
What
the
an
Demon Lock.
insane finish. I think that was the one card Realz needed to win, really.
Oh man.
I don't think there's any other way that could have pulled him out. And I think
Hellfire.
his heart is beating so fast, just like ours and the thousands of viewers that are watching, because Amaz had the win at his fingertips. But Realz will end this game with a Hellfire. GG.
Jaraxxus
Let's go to
is
game
making
7.
a comeback, by the way. Jaraxxus is making a comeback to the constructed metagame. He was forgotten, he was cut from all the handlocks, but now he's back. He is the demon, and he is leading the demon lock deck.
Realz was down 0-3, and it's going to game number 7. And what a fitting way to end this tournament, because so many series have been decided by the final game, because it's just been close. All these players, they've been showing good skill and, well, getting lucky when it matters the most. And now the Paladin deck will finally surface for Nimsh. I think it's so important because he's gotten so much scouting information. The Paladin deck should be able to play very efficient with all kinds of removal. And who knows, maybe Harrison Jones finally will pop Jaraxxus' weapon. I don't know.
I'm speechless again. It's like I really wanted to see that Demon Lock being played, and right now, this Demon Lock is being played. It's being played really well, and it's creating those 6 situations that are actually pretty fascinating with Jaraxxus and like Void Cores. I don't know what to say. I'm just happy. It's like it's good Hearthstone that we are watching here, and I'd love to see more. It's like it's kind of sad that this will be the last game for this match.
I've got good news. I've got good news. We'll see one more, no matter what. No ties, no breaks, no commercials. It's going to game number 7. We do want to do one more plug of the tournament of VGVN while we do have these quick seconds. Again, get your last-minute submissions for the PC drawing by Sour Power PC. At the very bottom, there is a banner. Go ahead and click it. I'm kind of, my knee is going up and down, or my legs jumping up and down here. Very excited because I want to see the last game. What a thrilling way to end game 6. I can't believe Realz was able to pull out of that despite the fact tapping at like 6-4 health and feeling like Shaman can just end you anytime off of an Alakir top deck. Amaz was not able to draw the damage dealing victory. Now, Paladin might make it a little bit slow. But with this kind of deck from Realz, it also might not allow it to be slow. He has to be careful not to overextend into Equality. If you go for like Void Terror with Void Caller and try to build up an insane board, Equality with Pyromancer can just end it quick, and then you're back to square one where you're tapping and trying to find answers. So you have to be very cautious if you're Realz. But at the same time, Amaz probably feeling under pressure. He was up 3-0, and now it's going to game 7. He hasn't won in quite a while.
Amaz is again in a situation where he is facing an unfamiliar deck. He played against it a couple of times, okay, but he never faced it with Paladin. So I'm really thrilled to see how he's going to execute this game. And we are exactly in this game right now with Realz having the coin and players mulliganing the cards. Does Realz actually know how to play versus the Paladin? I believe he does. It's his deck, his design, the Demon Lock.
Doomguard Keep. Okay. He wants to be aggressive. Amaz, he does have a decent opening hand. He mulliganed away the Pyromancer, which is also a little confusing, but I think he wants the ability to draw in something better. Maybe he was fishing harder for Equality and didn't want a Pyro without the Equality.
What do you think basically about Amaz's hand? There is like Acolyte of Pain, Aldor Peacekeeper, Sunwalker, so it seems like turn 3 is set, 4 is set, but then turn 5 doesn't look that exciting.
I think it's okay. You're fine with a little bit of hero powers. You haven't seen Mortal Coils. In fact, his hero powers are going to be really effective against this kind of deck, because this deck kind of plays slow, so the hero powers can build up on turns you're not doing anything, and you're allowed to sneak in that 1 damage. You've seen lots of tokens with things like Harvest Golem and whatnot. So, Maz gonna be taking it a little bit slower as well. Why not? Get your draws in now. No need to play the Alder Peacekeeper at the moment. Absolutely
We talked about it before, but it seems like Paladin has an edge, kind of, because you are able to counter those big minions that Warlock is pulling out of his sleeve, like Aldor Peacekeeper into the Molten Giants. You have the Equality, you have the Ways. If you're able to actually stop the Warlock from doing much damage, well, even if they do some damage to you, you can still heal with the other cards. So if you're able to continue just throwing the cards, and oh wow, there is a turn 5 play that he needed with the person of a Sludge Belcher coming from the depths of his deck.
Yep. And he also has a True Silver Champion, so even as the Ruby and Egg pops, he has a perfect response to it. So Amaz has a great start as he's curving out very nicely, but Realz has big game changers too with Molten Giant swings, which pale in the face of Equality. But with this kind of deck, with Void Terrors and ways to kind of pop and Doom Guards, maybe you're able to force it out earlier. And then as a result, Equality becomes super powerful against Giants. Or sorry, the fact that Equality doesn't have any, you don't have any more left, and then the Giants become super powerful. Excuse me.
I think it's also important that we look at the mindset of those players right now. So Realz is on a roll. He was with his back to the wall, and he won 3 games in a row. Amaz, on the other hand, just lost 3 games in a row versus the same Warlock deck, always being a bit close to winning, but short as well, and just losing. So now he's coming. Even though he started with a 3-0 score, he's coming from the loser's position into this final game to decide the match.
Realz is going to start cleanup duty on the eggs, by the way. Make sure you can't activate it with something like the Defender of Argus and Soul Fires. And now Realz is still kind of caught in an awkward position. He has power overwhelming. So that way, maybe he can use something there and push through this Sludge Belcher. But the Sludge Belcher has served its purpose already with how much removal or how much attention it's drawing from the Warlock.
Yeah, it's pretty tricky for Realz because it's like you have those weird cards, but you don't have the synergy. So it seems like this time it's not working for him that well. He has the Doomguard, but he has a hand of a handlock. So playing the Doomguard in this situation to discard double Molten Giant would be pretty bad. Also, you probably don't want to discard Draxus. And again, the Void Caller is failing to come and to help Realz to be able to exercise his strategy with summoning demons for free. This Draxus being a free 15 would be pretty amazing, or would be amazing. Not now, because now Amaz actually got Equality.
Yeah, Equality is good to just keep in your back pocket for now. Amaz wants to just keep clearing the board. Just that's his main mandate. A True Silver Champion also allows him to play really efficiently, but then he also wants to continue developing the board. Wouldn't blame him just to answer the Nerubian, though, right here.
What do you think about the Kodo play, by the way?
What, to play the Kodo that turn?
Yeah, just play the Kodo, destroy that guy, and I think it might be actually not that mana efficient.
It's not mana efficient, and also what's difficult about it is you know your opponent is playing things like Shadow Flame, and Siphon Soul, so you don't want to like give actually, well, I guess you're not really caring about it, but your opponent does play removal, and they do play slower, so I don't think you want to spend your Kodo with the ability with Aldor on something so small. Like this, if you had 8 mana, would you absolutely Aldor and Stampede and Kodo in combination.
There is the first Aldor, but on the other hand, Realz's hand has so much endgame potential with those Molten Giants.
In an interesting way, like the fact that this gets Peacekeeper kind of enables it to get swallowed up by Void Terror and make it just like this super high health minion.
4/9. Yeah, 4/9 will be pretty annoying. But on the other hand, it's not threatening enough to get rid of it immediately. So you can probably just keep it on board till the time you actually cast Equality. At 2/7 is
hopefully
not
he
bad
can
as
base
well.
it out. Yeah, 2/7 is. I mean, it's basically just an Oasis Snapjaw that's been taunted.
Tyrion is pretty nice. Like looking at Real's hand, we know that Tyrion is a pretty cool card to have right now.
But if Amaz has been paying attention, he knows his opponent plays Iron Beak
Siphon
Owl
Soul.
and Siphon
Siphon Soul.
Souls.
I feel like you'd kill the 2/7. I feel like kill 2/7 and then.
Oh, he's going for a
my
Kodo,
God.
and he hits the Dread
hits
Infernal.
it.
That's 2/7. A big moment again, as he doesn't have to go through that huge wall and expend a lot of his resources, making things like Hellfire a lot worse.
That's a pretty nice board clear, by the way.
Wow. Another 50-50 coin flip that went Amaz's way that could define the rest of this game. Although, you know, again, the matchup still has yet to pan out. He has Jiraxis as a late game
Siphon Soul.
option.
And then Iron Beak. Oh my god, a sick read.
Actually, Jiraxis completely changes the dynamic of this matchup. I was going to say Paladin was favored all the way through and maybe till the very end, but if you have Jiraxis and you're constantly pushing out 6/6s, it might not matter how many qualities your opponent have. But if Paladin's able to burst and set up a board preemptively anyways, it might not matter if you have things like Ashbringer plus whatever comes out.
Well, right now it looks pretty good for the Paladin. It looks good for Amaz with so many cool minions that he can play. He's seen Siphon Soul, so maybe he will be tempted to actually play Tyrion. But do you try to bait out the removal first? Like, play Sunwalker, maybe? Also, Sylvana's an empty board, but on the other hand, you know that there is a Shadow Flame, so what do you actually play? You can play Tyrion, you can play Sylvanas, you can play Sunwalker.
I don't want to play Tyrion until I know he's committed like his Iron Beak Owl, but maybe Amaz feels differently.
Well, we see the Iron Begal, like, it's just looking at us.
Sure.
But Amaz might be thinking, hey, maybe the Iron Beak is not there. Like,
Oh
let's take a
man,
risk.
he is gonna take a risk, and of course we know that this risk is not gonna pay off as he's gonna lose that 5/3 Ashbringer plus taunt and Divine Shield, and I think this is as best as the Iron Beak Owl value you can ask for. There's like
But on the other
nothing
hand, the 6/6 is still on board, and Realz is going down to 18 points of health.
Yes, that's true. He will be able to set up Molten Giants if he gets too low, but Amaz does have that equality. You're absolutely right.
On the other hand, like, Jiraxis is fine when you heal a lot, but when you play Jiraxis, it's like a turn that you don't do much. You can only attack for free, and if there is a taunt set up, you might just die next turn anyway.
But he's gonna go for a big Void Terror and try to see if he can bait out removal too. This might proc something like Equality, but Humility is in the hand of Amaz, so he's got the perfect response to this Void Terror.
And he can actually deal 10 points of damage out of this. But then we'll see the Molten Giants. This game, Amaz has everything he needs.
Yes, he has to play these really carefully. He has Holy Light also to heal up. Equality Pyromancer for things get tough. Even Sylvanas to kind of answer a big threat while being able to hide behind Sen'jin Shield Master so he has time to set up a potential mind control. Amaz feels like he's in a clear lead based off what the intel we have.
So Tyrion, even though it's silenced,
Oh,
is
he's
still
making
doing
a
its job.
push. He's making a push. Now, Realz can drop double Molten Giant, and he can even Shadow Flame, as well as play Jiraxis. He can't do all of those, but he can go for Shadow Flame plays, or he can go for Jiraxis plays, and heal up. I think you have to kind of clear the board, though, don't you feel?
I feel like definitely you want to clear the board. You want to play the Molten Giants. Wait, you can... Yeah, I think like you have to clear. The thing about Molten Giants is that you want to play them before you play Jiraxis, because then if you play Jiraxis, it will be pretty tough to play Molten Giants because your health total changes. So Molten Giants are more expensive to play. So that's why you want to play them now.
It's unfortunate that he can't get rid of this 1/5 whatsoever, so Sylvanas will take it. And then you can set up your own giant in response.
Void Terror, the Betrayer. Amaz takes what belongs to Amaz. And that 1/5 was his.
Sylvanas coming through in the clutch again, picking off a minion.
Yeah, it worked. So now what do? Do you play Molten Giant? Do you play Doomguard?
Ooh,
Definitely
I don't know
not, I
about
guess.
Doomguard. Doomguard, you could lose too much. He taps. He has a Void Caller, by the way. That might summon the Doomguard. That is a risky 50-50.
That also might summon the Jiraxis, and then you're
Yep.
in a really weird situation.
No, like Jiraxis gets wrecked.
Oh my god,
Whoa,
he gets the Consecration. This is a card he needed because Equality Pyromancer will be killing the 1/5. He can actually kill the 1/5, I guess. So Equality, Pyromancer, Equality, and then Sunwalker. It's
Well,
an,
yeah, I guess if you want to play the Sunwalker this turn, I actually don't mind also playing Sen'jin and then healing up so that way you keep your Pyromancer and you threatened lethal just with on board.
Well, it depends like what you really want. If you want to play Pyromancer, wait, you're not. Pyromancer will be dead. If you play Pyromancer Equality, he's dead. You can play
But if
Equality Consecration.
you can play Equality Pyromancer and then like something like Holy Light
Oh
and
yeah,
then
a Holy Light. Okay,
Ascension.
sure. Yeah,
So
that
then
would
I
work.
say, and then you represent lethal what's on the board, and you force your opponent to kind of do something else.
Yeah,
I
that's
like
also
that
a
setup
good
a
play.
little bit better because Sunwalker versus Ascension feels about the same right now.
There is a couple of plays. So what is Amaz going to do? On the other hand, if Amaz actually clears in here and leaves something on board, being Realz, you're forced to play Jiraxxus. And you don't have any more Taunt Givers in your hand right now.
He's got to move. He doesn't have forever. He's only got a few seconds left. What's the order going to be? Is it going to
Wait.
be Pyro with Sunwalker, or is it going to be Pyro with Ascension?
Is he getting roped?
Nope. He's clean with plenty of seconds left, but he's going to go with Sunwalker instead.
Oh man, I was afraid he's getting roped.
Yep.
he
And
gets,
now Realz is going to be able to play Jiraxxus.
And this is exactly what we talked about. Jiraxxus is not able to attack in here. So you heal yourself, but then again, this turn you do nothing apart from the heal, and your hand is not that exciting. A Sludge Belcher is a pretty nice card to get.
His hand becomes infinitely more exciting if he draws a Taunt Giver. Because Void Caller will then summon Doomguard, and Ancient Watcher absorbs a lot of damage, and you're hoping that your opponent doesn't have second equality. So if Realz is able to gather that, but he can't hero power and tap, he only can hero power summon Infernals, which isn't so bad either, to be honest.
I just can't believe that Jiraxxus is seeing the play for the third time in 4 games. Jiraxxus, the MVP of this final.
Absolutely.
It's
Before
fascinating.
this, it was just whatever Hunter was doing, Savannah High Main and tracking, right? Those were the ones doing work. Amaz now has to kind of calculate how he can kill his opponent.
If I would tell you a couple of days ago that we will be casting a final match where Jiraxxus is being played and Void Caller is being played, would you believe me?
I don't know. Wait, hold on. He's got lethal represented on board. Realz doesn't have a taunt.
That's it.
I think no. He has to kill him with Doomguard or something. He has to play Lotheb, Doomguard, and then kill off the Senjin.
3/5?
That's either once. But
7.
he has to kill something.
Okay, but still, Amaz has a heal. Amaz has Holy Light. Being Realz, can you actually do something here? Play Lotheb, play Doomguard.
I don't think so.
YOLO.
I think he can only survive barely, and then Amaz, if he top decks True Silver Champion, he will be your champion. That's all I can think about. It's the cheesiest thing I can think of.
You can also pick a second consecration, I guess.
Bear with me, Nim. Sunrise is coming over my window right now.
Oh my god, just hide.
I know, I'm allergic to sunrise.
Yeah, this is a pretty crazy situation here. I would never believe that we will be here watching Amaz versus Realz.
Oh no.
Time runs out.
He's gonna ditch Lotheb and go for the 6/6 instead. And
Amaz
try to play his
still doesn't
Ancient
have
Watcher.
lethal.
If he draws a Taunter, then maybe he can come back. But Amaz needs a little bit more damage here.
Gets a Sunwalker,
isn't
it's
it?
not enough. Do you go all in? This Doomguard is just so tasty to finish off. Realz, no cards in hand.
What if he draws Shadow Flame number 2?
That would be amazing. But still, Amaz can just play Sunwalker here.
I think you do Sunwalker. You Sunwalker,
And
hero
go face.
power.
Yeah.
You
Heal yourself.
might as well Holy Light. I guess you might as well.
You might. Yeah, you
He
might
has something like Ysera, so if he picks up Ysera, he won't be able to Holy Light and Ysera. So I think playing Holy Light here makes complete sense.
I think you just go face. Like, there is no way.
All right. The moment
Shadow
of truth. Can Realz respond to what's on the board, or is Amaz your champion? Hellfire is not enough.
It's not enough.
And I think that seals the deal. Amaz is going to win it in 7 games, and he becomes your VGVN Naxxramas
my
Release
God.
Tournament champion. as
my
Realz
God.
is going to end it in the most honorable way possible. Oblivion.
Amaz does it again. He wins another tournament. How is he even doing this? Reels put up a splendid show with this demon deck fighting till the last card. We are getting a screen with congratulations, Amaz, and really, this was pretty well done.
The Wolverine Claws triumph for today. Amaz is your winner for the VGVN Naxxramas Release Tournament, and Realz is your runner-up, and boy, did they make it one hell of a show. Thank you so much for all the players who participated. Thanks so much for everyone who's been watching. This has been a great one. Don't forget, we're giving away a PC. This is, I guess, really the last call for all the entries for the Cyberpower PC giveaway. Exclamation point giveaway, or click the banner on the Twitch channel. Nimsh, do you have any final thoughts before we close out the day?
Oh man, I'm so excited. After this tournament, it was just amazing. I'm actually thinking about going back and watching the VODs now, because what was the road that Amaz had to go through all those players with all those crazy decks. In the end, we haven't seen Baron Rivender doing any work, so maybe we should suggest to Amaz to cut it from his deck. But Paladin, Demon Lock, so many cool decks. I have still so much to say about this tournament. So guys, if you want to talk about it, just tune in with me and Froden on Twitter, @Froden, @NimshTV. I guess I will be tweeting about it a lot. Just doing fun stuff. Pacifist, Spectrum Knight, and having fun. I had a lot of fun.
I had a great time, Nimsh. It's been real fun. Again, big shout out to Amaz and Realz, but also shout out to Forsen and Savitz, who made it really fun too during day number 3. And thank you to Video Game Voters Network for putting on a great show, along with Liquid Hearth. You can check out all their stuff. Also with the One Nation of Gamers, the Barcraft series. You can check out all the stuff at One Nation of Gamers. Just search it up, or even just liquidhearth.com and check out all their forums, articles, strategy sites too. They're doing great stuff and great work. And of course, congratulations once again to Savitz being the most recent addition to Liquid Hearth. We are done with everything here in the Naxxramas Release Tournament. So from Liquid Hearth and Onog and everyone else here, Frodan and Nimsh, have a good night. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.
See you guys.